I've been watching this show
Forrest Gump.
called Preppers.
Oh,
It's called Doomsday Preppers. I think
seen
on
it.
Netflix.
I've seen
it. I had never really. I think I'd seen like a couple clips on YouTube, but the other day I sat down and I thought I'll watch one of these. Maybe it'll be funny. I watched 7 or 8 of those in a row, and it is the funniest fucking show because first of all, every single one of these prepping is an exclusively white people thing. I've discovered. There is not a single non-white guy on there prepping his farm for the fucking apocalypse. But another thing, these guys are usually between a line where you're laughing at them for thinking they're prepared, or you're looking at them like, oh my god, if shit goes down, this guy is the Negan of the new world. Like that level of shit. And I watched a couple different episodes that made me laugh really hard. The best one is in like South Carolina or Tennessee or Kentucky, somewhere in there. There's it was Georgia, maybe. There's a park called Deadwood, and it's like a reenactment of 18th century or 19th century kind of Wild West shit, where you can see cowboys do fake shootouts with the Indians, and you can see a cannon go off, and you can go into the old saloon and that shit.
Yeah,
and this is a real theme park you can go to, and it is interviewing the guy who owns this theme park. And right from the beginning, he's like, "Yep. So my family, we've had this theme park for many years at this point, and it was just 10, 15 years ago. I thought, I got to start prepping. And I thought, where better than to use my own business here as the prepping town. And so for the last 15 years, I've turned Deadwood into a post-apocalyptic fortress." Now, and I'm not shitting you. Watch this. This guy who owns a theme park, he was like walking around his restaurant. He's like, "Well, I got a little thing around here. You order 9 cases of food for the park. I take the 10th. I've got 4 years of dried food stored up in different places around here. I'll show you this one storehouse. I'm not showing you the rest." And then with the camera people, and then he'd walk around and be like, "You see over here? We got a little putt-putt course. What you notice about that right there? Nothing, right? But you stand right here, you crouch below this post and this wall. What do you have right there? Field of sight over the entire area of approaching the chain link fence we have. And so this right here, and you don't even know that this entire putt-putt course, reinforced concrete, bulletproof. You can hide behind anything on this course, and you will be okay. And so I have someone right here on hole 7, someone right there on hole 4, the entire east wing of this area covered by fire." And then he would go back and he's like, "The big thing I wanted to get going was my defensive cannon. It started out just being a cannon we had on site to shoot blanks to impress the comers. I realized soon after I can put BBs in there. And I've tested it. Now, if I have this pointed to the southern end of my park, it covers an area of 14 yards by 3 yards high. You know what that'll do to a man? Tear him right up, I'll tell you what. Tear him right up." And this guy, he was walking around his fucking theme park talking about how all the things he'd put in there. I don't know how, look up Deadwood theme park. I don't know how it's legal what he was doing, because a lot of what he was admitting to was like just like stealing money from a business to store it away. But I guess it is his business, so he can do whatever he wants. But it was so fucking, and the whole time, like, he would say little fantasy things where he'd be like, "I've always loved the Old West.
This is a pretty legit theme park."
I told you, it's really legit. He'd be walking around in like the old general store or whatever, and he'd be like, "And you know what I really think? I love the Old West. It's been a favorite part of my life for years. When it goes down, when the Meridian Midwest, when it goes down, I think life's going to return similar to the Old West. And you know what? I think people are going to be happier for it in the long run." And it was clear he's just living out a fantasy that it will go back to the Old West. He didn't even prep in the way most of them do, where they get high tech things. All of his like procurement of resources was 19th century Old West means. Oh, yeah. Like he built, and every one of these people calls their fort the Alamo. Every single one of these people, because the voiceover will be like, and Ted built this $3 million compound in South Texas, and he calls it the Alamo. And every episode, that voice has to go, and he calls it, and he calls it, and he calls it the Alamo. Like, they're all the Alamo. One of the guys spent, I think, $7 million building a castle, like a full-on castle on a peak somewhere as a prep thing. And until this point, this was the first episode that changed the kind of candor of the show. It had been, all right, we're going to follow 3 different people, and then there's a score at the end that some expert preppers are like, here's your score on water, food, shelter, safety,
and evaluate their like escape plan and things like that. They say when things go to, and they have a cause, right? I think it will be an economic catastrophe. I think it'll be a hurricane. And then they take that like possibility and what they would do about it and rate how well they'd handle their particular apocalypse. Yeah, exactly. So they'll be like, this guy, I think his thing was an EMP, where somebody detonating a nuke above the atmosphere and destroying all electronics or some such shit. And he, like, early in the episode, he's like, yeah, well, I've gotten really into building this castle. I've spent, I think, about $2 million on it so far. And so I'm having my 10 kids up here today to, I want to see who I want to sign this off to when I eventually die. And this fucking cunt of a dude. I hope there's a reality show for his inheritance.
He literally turned it into a reality show for his own inheritance, where he had all 10 of his kids come in, and he's sitting there like giving them solemn advice, where he's like, I've decided I'm not leaving very much for anyone in my will. All the money I have is going into this castle, is going into this fortress, and I need 2 of you, because he had 2 wives, each had like 4 or 5, 6 kids or something.
And he's like, Mormonism.
I'm taking someone from this wife and someone from this wife, and the 2 of you are going to be my inheritors for this. And so this fucking asshole of a dude took his 10 children and he made them compete for their inheritance. And so he would even
Please describe the competitions.
And in theory, they're competing for their future survival.
They are. Yeah, because not all of them are getting access to the castle. Right? And this is an enormous castle. It's way too big of a castle. It's literally all stone, because he's like,
too big.
Yeah. And so he has all of them come out there, and he's like, now, my oldest son, he is the oldest, but I don't trust him with a firearm. I think he's a little bit lazy. I don't care for some of his attitude, and so we'll see what he does today. And like he like showed a clip of his son like trying to shoot the gun, and his son being like, "Oh, I've never done this before," like being cutesy. And then it cuts back to the dad where he's like, "I was not impressed, not at all. He's not going to deal with that." Like his other daughters would come out, and this guy was trash talking his own children to the preppers camera crew. What we're talking about is this guy with 10 children built a fucking castle and then brought them out there, and in the middle of the preppers episode dropped the bomb of like, and now only 2 of you will have the rights to this castle, and you have to compete to get it. And he's this multimillionaire maniac.
Is it like a
shooting competitions?
Okay.
They're doing shooting competitions. They're doing like orchestrated counter assaults, where he's like standing in the back and he's like, Tim, Alan, rifles to the front, fire, back up. Alice, Susan, bows, and they're like shooting bows and arrows at these dolls and things. This guy's fucking insane. He's fucking insane.
But you know what he's not?
He's shit talking his own kids the whole way through on the private preppers camera. They'll like do something in front of him, and he'll come out and be like, "Yeah, Alice, honestly, not impressed. Not impressed one bit by my 3rd oldest daughter. I thought she might have a better chance at this, but there's no way she's getting a piece of this pie."
But he's not poor.
No. He's inordinate. He built a fucking castle.
That's what surprises. No, I've seen this show too, and it's usually people who are who really could use this money in a better way, you know, and a future that is more likely to happen. If you really have like $1,500 and you want to prepare for the future, go to community college, right? That will improve your future, perhaps.
The rates on IRAs were looking attractive,
but instead they're
this
like
9-inch gun on the front of the house, the trailer home, modular home, as I like to call it. It is going to pay dividends.
They're investing in Connex boxes with like enough armor to hold back a 22, you know, and acting like
those are
that.
only $1,800 a pop.
It blows me away. And this future that they're preparing for, I always say this, is a fantasy. It's not a likely outcome. It's one that they'd rather live in that world.
Exactly. The word is fantasy, because they are fantasizing about this new world order where the currency they've chosen becomes primary. And I married into a family of these people. I don't know if I should be ashamed to say it. And
no, you should talk about it thoroughly.
I'll be happy to. I received as a marriage gift from the Latter-day Saints some beans and other things that did not make my last move, I'll confess. But you know, it's
Hey, what box did we put the 8 tons of beans in?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I threw all that out, baby. I'm gonna be honest. You're fine.
I'm not worried about it. Absolutely.
You threw away our 3,000 pounds of beans.
But see, in the world of preppers, you're more accepted if you've thought of something else to prep for. Because if you say, all right, we're fortified against this level of enemy, and you come up with something like, well, what if they train the bears? Everybody else, oh my goodness, I've got to sharpen more sticks. And it's like, it's this kind of craziness.
These Kodaks are smarter than they let on.
That's it.
They can use weapons.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's a thing. I mean, certainly not anything that I spend any time on, but Mormonism in Metro Atlanta is quite prevalent, and they love some prepping. They love getting together and be like, "Have you tuned your ham radio today?" Well, no, but I literally drove up to one, and I had a CB radio on my Mercedes for the Cannonball, so to hear what truckers say about cops, and he's like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like,
"Oh shit."
Is that the code? Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But when they heard, when these guys hear the person featured in the show you watch come in, like, about 15 years ago, they're going to go, amateur. Dude, this guy wasn't even ready for Y2K. He wasn't even thinking about it. I was there. I had 2 drops of bleach in the bathtub. We were going to drink for days. I mean, it's that kind of thought process of like, you didn't prepare because, I mean, my father-in-law was ready for Y2K and probably was a little bit disappointed on January 1st, 2000, saying, man, I thought Will Smith was going to be the end of it all. But, it's like, it's not always
I'm
the way
so proud of my family.
You're totally right. Yeah.
My dad he woke up the next day and he was like, everything's good, huh? All right. like no attention was paid to
the prepper thing is totally a fantasy on behalf of, well, not necessarily a fantasy, because I won't say that something bad couldn't happen, and like if something shitty goes down, whether or not it's the EMP or some terrorist attack, you're still going to be happy you have 4,000 pounds of beans in the cellar.
Right.
But there was one specifically that jumped out to me as clearly someone fantasizing in this show, where there was this hick-ass country guy who had like his own team. I think like the 7-day Marauders or something, and he was like building his own team around this farm, and it was a really impressive setup. But half the episode was talking to this guy who lived in a city a ways away, and it was like, and he's like, yeah, I'm trying to join Ted's 7 Marauders. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to be even harder because my wife and daughter really don't want to do it. But I've already sold our home, and I've decided we're moving onto this guy's compound. And so the whole way, like, the wife and daughter are just not having it. He's like, this is pretty neat, huh? This is pretty cool. And they'll like go to the daughter in a private interview, and she's like, I'm gonna miss all my friends, and I don't want to go, and it's sad. And the wife's like, I know he's just doing this because he wants to take care of us, but I don't want to live on Ted's survival farm. It's not going to be good.
So my friend Eric, he's his YouTube channel is Iraq Veteran 8888, which is not Heil Hitler. Okay, it has a whole different meaning. It has something to do with
Hulk Hogan.
It's people make that mistake sometimes. 88 is code for Heil Hitler. It's not it. I promise you. He explained it to me one time. It has something to do with his army number or something like that. He was in the military. Very nice guy. Those aren't his politics at all. Just clear that up right away. He was asked to do a TV show. I got asked to do a bunch of these silly TV shows, and we always turned him down. It wasn't enough money. It was too much time. It wasn't going to work. Well, I go into his store one day that he worked at he doesn't work there now. He's sort of moved on from that. But I'm like, Christian? Is that you? And this guy, Christian, this producer who I had went to LA and hung out with, he had the hottest girlfriend I'd ever seen. I feel like she was part of his sales pitch. He wanted to do a TV show with me at one time, and it didn't work out because of the reasons I mentioned before. He's there and they're filming, and I'm like, what's going on? You guys are doing a TV show, huh? Like, yeah. And I was very excited for Eric. I was like, this will be real cool. You know, it'd be cool to see Eric in a TV show and see what they make of it and all that stuff. You never know how these things are going to turn out. He could be the next Sons of Guns without all the child molestation. And so the time comes when the show's been made, and it's a prepping show. Him and his guys are going to people's houses and they're prepping for them. They are the guys who do the installation of they're like, hey, we want to be prepared. We want an underground layer that's prepared for this or that, or we want a bulletproof safe room or whatever. And they go do it, you know? And cool concept, I thought. Prepping was real big at that time. And but they didn't know what it was going to be called. You know, that was one of those decisions that was going to be left up to the production company. And that's another reason why I was always iffy about these things. There'd be little clauses like that. Oh, you don't get to name the show or have any input. Oh, and then we own your IP forever. And any merchandise you ever sell, we'll get 50% of that. I said, well, shit, why do you get 50% of fucking my t-shirts? Like that's bullshit. Mm-hmm. It'd be stuff like that. So the time comes. The show is available. You know, it was A&E or some shit. I don't know, True TV, whatever. And Kitty's like, oh, the show's out. Let's purchase it. Let's watch an episode of Eric prepping. And she's texting back and forth to Eric, and she's like, what's it called? And he's like, yeah, you know, we didn't have input, I guess. And, you know, no, but what's it called? Prepper Hillbillies. And she's like, isn't there already a show called that? And he's like, no. That's the Hillbilly Preppers.
So they were trying to piggyback off some other marketing.
Look at this link. We are the Prepper Hillbillies. This is not. I'm pretty sure they're photoshopped into this promotional image.
That's him on the left.
On the Share TV site you linked, it says that this show has one fan.
It does say that.
Look, I'm not here to shit on Eric. Look, the TV show went poorly, I think. But the main thing was the name, because I know that he did not want to be a Prepper Hillbilly. That is not what he wanted to be. And it was ridiculous. And I watched a few episodes of it.
I remember Barry from his YouTube channel.
Yeah, he passed away.
I really like that guy.
Nice guy. Yeah. But yeah, for real. And I just remember being like, isn't there already a... No, you're thinking of the Hillbilly Preppers.
Yeah.
We are the Prepper Hillbillies.
Not to be confused.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody needs a laugh, watch Preppers, because it is hilarious. One of the guys sunk like $3 million in his fortress, which he named the Alamo again. And it was like 400 miles out of Houston or something. It had these two big stone buildings connected by a path. He had concrete water containers that he even tested, because he was like, I would buy plastic, but I don't trust that it's going to stand up to flames. And so he made Molotov cocktails and hucked them at his own concrete water supply to show that it would work. He has his own well with the rights to the water there. And then it was showing their intense thing, he and his partner. And his partner accidentally shot a rifle inside this blind. So it, creates a lot of noise. But both of them had ear protection on. And this dude who spent millions and millions and millions of dollars prepping for this got so upset and so broken by a firearm going off and creating that much noise that he was like openly weeping and freaking out and like, oh, he even like the partner guy didn't own any of it. He was just this eccentric guy who knew a lot about explosives or something. And he's just sitting there talking. He was like, oh, I can't even hear, man. I can't even hear. You fucked up. I gotta let you go. I gotta let you go. You done fucked up, man. You fucked up. And he's laying on the ground crying because the gun went off too close to him with ear protection on. And it was like that moment where I'm like, oh shit. If anything does go down and this guy so much as stubs his toe, then whatever alpha marauder shows up has a dope setup. Like, it's gonna be, that guy is going to seize your land, beat the shit out of you, kill you, and then he'll be ecstatic that you decided to spring for the concrete.
Why was he so
water
upset?
holders.
I don't understand. Just that he heard a loud noise?
Yeah.
No,
It-
accidentally
like-
discharging a firearm.
No,
You are.
it wasn't an accident. He was next to a guy who he knew was going to fire, but he had the barrel inside the blind, where
Yeah.
you're supposed to put it outside, and it had
A
a muzzle
louder.
brake, had a muzzle brake on it, which
Very loud.
does make it louder. But
Okay.
the way he reacted to it was not at all
Yeah, I don't
someone who
think I
spent
understand
millions
the
of dollars in
blind.
prepping.
I'm
It was
exposing
like
myself here.
it's a metal stand they had that they were practicing sniping from.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, it wasn't a cloth.
like a shed
blind
with a
or
big open
something.
window.
Basically, an elevated shed. And they were in there, and the one gentleman barely had a little bit of the muzzle brake inside of the blind and fired. And of course, that makes a ton of noise.
Oh, so if
but
the
other
muzzle had
guy,
just stuck outside the wall a little bit, then the noise would have gone outside mostly.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's real
then
nip
probably
around.
it would have been fine. It was an amateur mistake for that guy to make, but the way that this guy responded with openly weeping and like calling the paramedics and things, it was like, oh my god, dude, like you're not prepared.
Yeah. If
So-
that's shaking, if that's rustling your jimmies, it's going to be a rough time in any sort of real scenario.
Well,
Is,
friends aren't that valuable in a post-doomsday scenario.
Yeah.
That's true. You always want to go it alone.
I deafened Scott one time. We were on top of this truck. This truck had like a big platform built on top of it, and we're just driving through the wilderness in Texas looking for anything to kill. If we see a fox, he's dead. If we see a coyote, he's dead. We see,
Mhm.
the armadillo or a wildcat or a mountain lion. We're just going to shoot whatever we
Unarmed
see.
child.
Well, maybe not that, but we're lights are everywhere, and we're just kind of hauling ass. And what was it? I think it was a coyote. It was something like that. It was something that was like that'll be a good one to get. It was either a coyote or certainly wasn't a wildcat. But that's what we wanted. We wanted to get a mountain lion because like there were mountain lions in the area. But I figured that thing would hear us coming anyway. I opened up on this coyote with a very loud, like an AR-10 with a muzzle brake right next to Scott's head, and he was a little deaf for a day, on the left side or whatever. He was a little upset. Those things are fucking loud. They're so fucking loud.
what was it exactly? Did you say already?
I think it was a coyote.
No,
It was
no,
a
no, the
coyote.
guns.
An AR,
you-
Like an AR-10, like a
But do you
308
think-
caliber.
Do you think it was a coyote because you still missed?
Yeah, I didn't get
Yeah,
it.
okay, yeah,
I
okay.
didn't get it. Yeah. We're bumping along, and I just went da 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 da, and then there's just dust.
there
and-
was just a vague movement in the woods. I fired. Yeah.
those were sort of the rules of engagement at that time. Like that. That's when it's a lot of fun.
And the
When we-
coyote yelled, "Stop, please!" I'm a person.
It was
And you said,
Texas.
"This is the slyest fox I've ever come across."
Look at it.
Yeah, so that was my other gas mask. I carry one. I have a go bag in my car that I have with me at all times in case there's a dirty bomb that hits or something.
Damn, you're prepared for the
that's,
biochemical attacks.
NBC CBR rated for nuclear fallout and stuff.
Get your iodine capsules.
Iodine capsules. I got I've got 6
I was kidding.
55-gallon drums of water. No, I got it. I got my
was a
ex
joke.
used to work for a pharmaceutical firm.
He's a
And
Enough
got some other
Walking
stuff.
Dead. If there's an apocalypse, I want to die. I want to die early.
Really?
No, there's not a lot of happiness that happens
no.
afterwards.
I want to.
I'm looking forward to it.
when the
I don't
world
know.
collapses.
I don't know. I don't think I'll do well. Everyone imagines they'll do well, but some gang of guys like Wolf has been preparing, and they're gonna be rolling down the street as you're like counting the number of cans of ravioli you have.
I feel like I just need to find that group, and they'll be like, "Are you FPSRussia?" like
kill him and go to his house. I know he has guns.
I have a lot of guns.
I'm very popular amongst right-wing militia groups. All right,
Yes,
I think I'll do a-okay.
That could save you in the end. Yeah.
I'd be like, "Can I hang with you guys? Hang with us. Can we make him like Colonel Kyle or something? It has a ring to it. Like, I think I'll be okay."
Dude,
Yeah,
I got it all. I've been doing that. I've got generated. I've been doing that stuff since the '90s blackout that hit East Coast.
Wow, you're ready.
So before, like,
what kind of like you have MREs? You may have just said a minute ago, but I didn't hear.
Yeah, I've got a few. A lot of MREs I don't trust because they don't last long term. I just keep rotating certain food sources.
Yeah, I got obsessed with this YouTube channel that like reviews MREs.
Yeah,
and he makes them seem like delicious. He's like, "Oh, we've got a 1986 Czech Republic fucking like MRE. This is the MRE that they gave to the pilots." And they'll crack it open, and it's like all sorts of disgusting shit, you know. And he's just like, that's got a nice smoky flavor. And I'm sitting there like, does it now? I'm hungry watching this. It's like sitting and watching someone like a Food Network or something. And next thing I know, I'm on not even Amazon. I'm on eBay buying like European MREs from like the early 90s.
Oh,
and
wow.
None of them are good. No. They're all awful.
Yeah.
Just disgusting. I did end up with I've still got a case of American like current issue MREs.
Yeah. But, the overpriced stuff.
Yeah. I think they're like $12 a pop or something like that.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, but they're actually not too bad. I think maybe like there's some sort of like cheesy chili macaroni or something like that.
Yeah, you can get like vegan stuff now and everything, man.
Yeah, they get like vegetarian pasta, and some of those are like anything that's like noodles and like tomato sauce. Yeah, they have that figured out.
Basics, yeah.
But if you try to do like an MRE hamburger or an MRE hot dog or anything, that's no good.
The thing is, though, you gotta think of it if you're at a point that you're starving so badly, you're not gonna care.
No,
about right? Like,
no, you wouldn't care.
And from what I've learned from experience, you don't want to get stuff that tastes good in your storage because people are just going to start eating it when they don't need to. You know what I mean? Like,
it works for a diet, you know?
You just want to store some dry oatmeal.
Yeah, because it's like the pantry's running low. The kids are just going to go downstairs and get the food that they like in the emergency supply.
In the early days of the coronavirus, like somebody was making the point about like what happens if like the gasoline gets shut down. Like, what if the guys who like run the oil fucking systems like are all too sick to work or whatever? And I did go get like, I don't know, less than 10 pounds, but more than 5 pounds of rice and dried beans.
Yep. But people don't understand how weak or how independent the system is. Like, grocery stores only carry enough food for 72 hours. So if, say for instance, the trucking industry stopped, they'd run out of food in like 2 days at most, 3 days, because everyone's gonna be rushing out getting food like crazy. Look at how fast everything emptied during the beginning of COVID. Look at how fast the shelves emptied. If that happened like on a long-term basis, oh my gosh, it would be insane. And you think, and it's funny because I talk about this and I was like, people think like, oh, you know what? It wouldn't be like the movies. People aren't going to attack each other over, when shit hits the fan and stuff. Are you crazy? Have you seen how people act during a Black Friday sale? And that's over a TV. How are people going to act when their kids are starving? Like, and we're so far away from that third world mentality. We're so first world that we can't even envision what it'd be like. Like, we don't. Like, humans in North America don't look out for each other. Like, we just want people to like wear a mask, and we got people fighting over that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
I feel like you're onto something.
The mask thing to me, I'm sorry if I could. Yeah. It's like the downside of wearing a mask is you wore a mask when you didn't need one. Yes. The upside is you've saved lives. And to me, it's just a no fucking brainer. like these conspiracy theorists who were like, oh, this and that about the virus, it's not even that dangerous, etc. And I'd read that and I'd be like, like it does seem like a healthy young man like myself would be okay. I get that. But like, what is at stake here? Me putting on a mask, like I don't know about y'all, but I've got a super comfy mask. I got one of the ones that's like a neckerchief, like it's like a stretchy like pantyhose type thing that like comes up. First of all, everybody looks better in a mask. Second of all, like I feel like it's almost like wearing sunglasses around other people. You like don't have to deal with them. I can kind of like I can kind of go to my own little place. So when I walk into like a pharmacy or something, now I was in the pharmacy a couple days ago, like 15 people in there waiting in line. And I got my fucking I'm like a bank robber. I even said that when I got up there. I'm like, if I'd walked in here 2 years ago with this, you'd have called the cops. Because I got like the full like thing up covering half this much of my face. Yep. And then I got my like sunglasses on. Yeah. I don't mind it a bit. I don't mind it a bit.
Got into watching Formula One, and they all have these like stylized European cut masks. They look great. I was like, that's what I want. So that's what I have.
But as Kyle was saying, how little does it take? How little does it take to look out for other people? Like, and these guys are, and then look at all these friggin' cases building up in Florida now of all these governors, and Tucker Carlson is out. Oh, man, now you got to get the MAG vaccine. Like, it took people to die for people to change their ways. Like, I swear, sometimes humanity just asks for it. Like, it's like, Jesus, Murph. Like, I was wearing masks before you had to wear masks. Like, the January before COVID really broke out, I had a box of N95 masks. Like, you can get them from Home Depot for $18.99, box of 20. And I just sent a text to my family, go out and buy a couple boxes of these now at Home Depot. All right. And they all laughed at me. LOL. Oh, you and your end of the world stuff. Oh, you and your prepper. And I said, just please go out and buy it. 2 months later, gone. You couldn't find it. And not even the hospitals could get 95 masks, right? And now you try and get them now. They're like $5 for one disposable mask for R95
really?
or N95.
Yeah. That's wildly expensive.
Wildly expensive. And those, they're so cheap to make.
How much does it cost to make that? Like 3 cents?
Yeah. At least. At the most. And it's like, I still have boxes.
It's a good margin.
It's like, it's like I mean, imagine if this was a real pandemic, like something. What was that movie with
World War Z?
His wife was cheating on him in Beijing, and she came back and brought the disease over. It's with the guy from it's not going to come to me now.
That's not Contagion, is it?
Yes, Contagion.
Oh,
that
it is?
movie. Okay. Have you seen that movie?
Go
watch that movie. That will get your good paranoia going really good.
So I've argued against the survival stuff a couple times on this show.
Okay.
Where the thought process was like, it's almost like these people wish there was an alternative world where they get to be Negan and they'll be in charge. And if you really want to change your life for the better, go to community college and learn to weld or HVAC or whatever. That was the thing I put out there a bunch of times. Now that we're deeper into this COVID thing and I'm watching how people respond, and I've just finished watching the whole Walking Dead. It's like maybe Wolf is onto something. Maybe, yeah. Like
tell me your worries.
I don't think it's your first thing, right? I think that maybe the first thing you get to, if you're young in life, you're broke, you have no skills. Step 1, go to community college and learn HVAC repair. Step 2, accumulate a little money and buy some memories. Like maybe not step 2, but anyway, I'm not saying that should be your primary focus, but if you have some of your other bases covered, it's not dumb.
I'm not one of those Doomsday preppers guys. Like, have you seen that show, Doomsday?
You look a little. I mean, with the mask on, you cosplay as one.
you definitely are. You're more similar to that show than you're letting on.
There are guys, but
it's a cool show.
There are people out there who live that 24/7.
That's a real meme, right? Just like him wearing that mask with what looks like guns behind him, and then text saying, "I'm not one of those Doomsday preppers."
I'm not some weirdo.
But yeah, there are guys out there who like take their families out in the middle of nowhere and start, trying to live off the grid and solar panels and drinking rainwater and eating.
Guys who drive themselves into poverty by decking out shipping containers.
They invest all of their money into it. Like, no, dude, I have properties, I have businesses, I have kids going to college, I've got, hot women. Like, I have a life.
Your other bases are covered.
Very much so. Like, I'm not going broke buying equipment. But at the same time, when something did happen, I didn't have to run out and get toilet paper.
Yeah.
I didn't have to run out. And there was a point where, what do they call it? Chicken broth. Everyone started buying all the chicken broth for some reason. I already had that in storage. Like, it's
like no calories in there.
But I'm saying, I don't know why it happened. It's just random stuff. Like, there's nothing. I have a generator if the power goes out. I have most of the bases covered that I can survive for a few months without. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many watts is your generator?
I've got,
How many watts is your generator?
I'm not even sure, actually.
Enough.
I just
I don't know.
Started every couple of months and make sure it's running okay. But I have enough. Like, I'm not that into it that I know the specific wattage and yada yada. I know I have enough power to keep certain things running if need be for a good amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But again, seeing the reality of how humans react when it comes to hard times made me realize that the government, I'm not an anti-government guy, I'm not one of those guys. The government's not going to look out for you.
Yeah,
because they'll just shut everything down, and all those government guys are rich anyway, so they're just being mansions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how many movies have you seen where the government just shuts down and people go crazy? It's like that's a human condition thing. It's not like people are not going to be singing Kumbaya and around campfires as the zombies are coming. They're going to be like trying to take each other's food.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what every zombie movie is about. Every zombie movie has the undertone of like, it's not the zombies that are the number one thing to deal with. It's the other people who are going to be trying to steal your generator and take your food and pilfer your toilet paper.
And it's
you were talking about
true
doomsday preppers. Like, the way you said it is 1,000,000% true, because there is no middle class prepper on the planet based on that show. It is someone who has $30,000 to their name and built something that's not, I wouldn't spend a weekend there on a bet. Yeah. Or there are guys who are multi-millionaires and took like a little piece of their fortune. One guy built an actual castle. He's like, I want to be able to survive, and I also love the Middle Ages. So I built a castle, and he has his like 9 children come there and do a contest. And of like a survival literally like handing them bows, like, what I've taught you. I can't leave this to all of you, and some of you don't take it seriously. So we're having a competition to see who will get left this really valuable piece of land with this goofy castle on it. And it's like his kids competing in like archery, and some of them are like over getting talked to by the camera, like, this is fucking retarded, man. I don't want I don't even want it. And then some other ones are like, yeah, I want the fucking castle. I could sell this for like $4 million. You know how much land is on this? We have a lake, moving water. There's well water. We got everything. Yeah, I can sell this to some, land settlement company.
But it's like
that's
I said,
what it is.
It's like, again, like it's just basic survival instinct, I guess. But I don't, especially when I have kids, I want to make sure they're okay. You know what I mean? Like, when you see all these survival movies, 99% of them are a guy surviving on his own. What? One movie that struck me was, it's not going to come to me now. The movie with Brad Pitt and his family and the zombies came.
Oh, that's
World War Z.
World War Z. That was the first movie that really took a guy and his kids and put him in that scenario. And I was like, holy shit, could I survive that? Everyone thinks about it on their own. No one thinks about it.
No, he survived like 4 plane crashes in that movie.
That's true.
He should have died.
Yeah. That was stupid, but I'm saying
there was like an RV with the keys in it just when he needed it.
Just when he needed it. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it was great, but I'm saying
he escaped Israel at one point.
That scene was so cool, though. That scene was so cool.
Escape from Israel.
Yeah, but
like
I'm saying
I play that game.
If people don't take it seriously, and people are freaking out just because they have to wear a mask, and like I said, if food ever runs dry for real, you're going to see some nasty stuff from humanity. If the internet ever dies, if there's one EMP and there's no way to talk to each other, and there's no government to tell you what to do, and there's no radios, maybe ham radios, but if like one good EMP dirty bomb sets off after some guy from Afghanistan comes over, sets it off, people will like just go crazy and start stealing stuff from stores and this and take that. And I taught my kids how to use my bolt action 308 the other day, and someone was a little worried about it. Are you crazy to me? Like they learned how to use my AR the weekend before that.
Yeah.
And go, how many kids don't know how to actually safely operate a firearm, especially in Canada? Actually, the States too. Most
we have 4 years old already. It's time to learn.
It depends on the state here. Like every single person I knew being from Missouri, they learned how to shoot guns when they were younger. But like friends from even Colorado, California, they're like, wait, what? You were a child and they gave you a gun? It's like, yeah, my grandpa gave me my first shotgun, a 20 gauge when I was 6.
Yeah, but I lived in New York for a very long time. Nobody knows how to shoot there. Mm-hmm. Very few know how to shoot there.
And they're also or not all, that's not a fair generalization, but so many of them treat guns like they're just gonna go off being around it. Yeah. They're like, this is intrinsically dangerous. Fear. It's like, literally no, it's a paperweight until you pick it up, and then you need to have the right. It's either that. I've found people who are from areas that aren't big on guns, it's either don't even want to touch it, don't even want to be around it, which I would prefer to the other kind, which is does not treat it at all with the reverence that it deserves, where they're oh, we're just goofing around with guns, it's we're like a bunch of dumb rednecks, aren't we? And it's well, you just barrel swept 4 people, you fucking cunt. What's wrong with you? This isn't a joke. Just because you think some hillbilly this is just you think it's a hillbilly thing doesn't mean those hillbillies are going out there yeehaw, shooting each other. They're all being careful.
Yeah.
Or they're dead.
And Canada, it's there's no, I don't want to say there's no need for guns up here, but the crime, if a lot of Americans don't know what it is like in Canada. It's so I lived in New York and chose to move back up here because it's so much more peaceful and less racism, and the healthcare system is so awesome, and you don't have to worry about anything, right? And the thing is though, if I was a gangster, I would take my crew and move them up to Canada because you could take everything. You know what I mean?
That's where so many mob movies have done
nobody
that.
Has guns to protect themselves. Police are completely, if you're ever a Joker and came up to Canada, it'd be a field day. You know what I mean? And it's there's no protection of any kind because we're so used to. I mean, we have a few shootings here, but it's only people who guys who selling drugs who shoot each other. We don't have school shootings. We don't have random shootings. We don't. Once in a while, we get some crazy person to run people down on a truck on the sideway or something like that. Yeah. But they're so spoiled here that when I say I know how to use a firearm, they look at me like I'm the full-on crazy doomsday prepper just because I know how to use them or because I own one. So it's so far removed up here that I'm going to be an alpha if anything should really hit the fan up here. You know what I mean? So it's it's scary, but Woody, you got to think about, and you have you've been on that property for a while now, but you got the land and the resources to be able to accumulate a few things. Don't go crazy, but just think about,
I've got 2 generators and I don't know how many guns. So there's
but you need to eat something, man.
The most tempting thing about
Canada, neighbors.
One neighbor grows food. I wonder how many guns he has.
Not enough.
You only need one.
It's what 3
I'll let you live if you keep growing the food.
You can only survive, what is it? 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food.
Yep.
And it was I think it was 3 minutes without air or something like that. But it's 333. It's
sounds about right.
And it's a gallon of water a day per person.
Yeah. At least if you're
that's
marching
just
around.
a drink. That's not even for washing and stuff, right? So it's people don't think about these things, and Lord forbid that. Remember, if the power goes out, water goes out because the water is pumped by the power. So you know what I mean? People don't think about stuff.
How does your water come, Woody?
Oh, we have a well. The generator can run it.
Okay,
there you go.
That's nice. That's very.
Well, it's still ran by the power, though.
Yeah, we're coming to your place.
I mean, if I had to pick another country to live in,
I guess you lower a bucket. Now, is it the kind of well that's drilled or bored?
I actually don't know.
Could you lower a bucket in it?
Yeah,
I'm not sure there's a concrete thing on the hole,
Is
and
it
I
like
don't move
is it
it.
like this big around?
Yeah, it's like a manhole cover sized.
Yeah, you could pop that off.
You could
So I don't know what's under the cover though. For all I know, it's a manhole sized cover and a 6-inch hole.
Well,
No,
you should find
You
out.
wouldn't expect that.
No, you pop that cover off. You can see all the way down to the water. You could lower a bucket in there. I grew up with a
I
well
should
like
go
that.
look. Okay.
I've
Yeah,
had
yeah.
both kinds.
Or figure out at least a hand pump system, like one of those.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I don't know how deep it is. I know there's a lot of flow.
It's traditionally
I'm just
looked at
suggesting,
as
like you don't go
scary.
to you don't kill 13 people with a shotgun in a quick period of time.
I
You
disagree
definitely
with
could.
that.
You-
If they're
you
hurting
can't
them like
quit-
cattle, chikaboom, chikaboom,
If you have a nice pump shotgun and you remove the plug and you've got like 6+1 or whatever it can carry, that's a lot of damage.
Right,
Wow.
right. But
He had a lot of
Yeah.
guns.
yeah,
What
Yeah.
I'm reading here is the weapons found at the school include 5 pistols, 1 rifle, and a flak jacket.
Okay, so
The jacket was outfitted with the jacket was outfitted with steel plates and held 5 magazines.
That's a plate carrier.
Okay.
what's the difference between that? You were saying you don't like the term flak jacket.
Yeah, because a flak jacket is what like bomber crews would wear back in World War II, and they don't protect. They're not bulletproof. They protect against flying shrapnel from the anti-aircraft fire, which they go up to a certain altitude and they just blow up. That's how anti-aircraft fire works, indirect fire anyway. So like a flak jacket and a Kevlar vest and a plate carrier are 3 very different things. If we had a plate carrier, which is what that you just described, that's what that's what I use in my videos and stuff. That's what I advertise for. Like,
you can't be stopped.
And
so they're calling the rifle an assault rifle.
Of course they are.
But so one would assume it was one of the black guns. Beyond that, and 5 pistols. It's hard to get a list.
1 for each limb.
Did you give his penis a pistol as well?
He's got
not to
2
make light of the
arms,
situation,
2
but like,
legs, and his dick. Yeah.
why doesn't anybody make improvised explosive for these kind of things? Like, it would be so much more effective.
That's happened before.
Well, they tried that in multiple.
They tried that in Columbine, but they failed. But like, you could just, Molotov cocktails.
You're disappointed they weren't successful.
I'm not disappointed they weren't successful. But I'm like, if you're going through this level of preparation, you have a plate carrier, you have 5 pistols. You're obviously going to be dropping guns when the magazine runs dry. You know, that kind of deal. And you're obviously planning ahead. You got 8 IPs while you're telling people you want to get the notoriety. You want to get this time right here on the microphone.
Well, if he was doing the whole, asking a question, which this is the first I've heard of that, then it wouldn't make sense for him to use a bomb. Also, as far as like the legacy that I'm sure he wanted to maintain from doing this, it's a lot more impersonal to just blow something up than to go around and as the person.
How'd he die?
Them.
Did the police shoot him?
No,
Did
he's
he shoot
not dead.
himself?
He was in the custody,
Oh.
right? Yeah, he's gonna probably get the death penalty, hopefully.
I thought he got killed yesterday.
No, he went into custody, I believe. Tyler,
I don't know very much about the guy. I've noticed that
I'm sure a quick search would answer this question.
I've noticed that they're focusing a lot on this this one guy who tried to stop him, that charged at him and got shot 5 times or whatever.
I put Oregon shooter dead. The first thing CNN, Oregon shooter gunman dead after college rampage.
Oh, yeah, he's dead.
After he's dead. After Sandy Hook, I went and bought an assault rifle because there was a lot of talk of them getting banned, and I kind of wanted one before they were banned. There were people at the gun store just hanging out to watch the Christmas frenzy, of all the people buying assault rifles. A little part of me wishes that I think that right now the gun stores are probably swamped, that everyone's kind of going in there to get their rifles.
I can link you to some. I was looking on the Gun Deal subreddit last night, and they had some AR-15s for 500 and less. So yeah, if you ever want to stock up, just let me know. We'll. I got a neighbor, and he was buying Mosin Nagants one day. He's buying a whole fucking case of them, which is 10 rifles, and I was like, you collecting these things? What's the deal? He's like, no. When the government falls apart, I'll need these. And I'm like, you're gonna fight the government with Mosin Nagants? He's like, no.
Before.
He's like, no. Those are for my conscripts. I'll have my scar. But anybody who needs a rifle and wants to work for me, they get a Mosin. And I'll have me a whole squad of guys. He's like, I got 85 of these motherfuckers. You know my team, and he did. He's got the bayonets and everything. So he's ready to arm up a whole regiment of guys.
They're the first battalion, also known as cannon fodder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That must be what he falls asleep to every night, is just fantasies of like, oh, when it all comes crumbling down, who's going to come to me first?
Kyle.
Maybe an attractive blonde.
Yeah, I look at those people the same way I look at Christians. Like, they're always ready for the apocalypse.
Is he thriving in this world?
That guy? Yeah, he's a sergeant in the police force.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Because sometimes I feel like the people that are anxiously awaiting for the apocalypse, for the fall of the nation, for the government to collapse, the $4 quadrillion global economy to come just vanish into nothing. Oftentimes, they're not really killing it right now, and they think they do better in this imaginary world.
Not the ones who are the best at it. There's this whole, the whole Doomsday Prepper show alone. Those are not broke people. They're very well off. They literally have like another house they go to for this. Yeah, they build underground cities. There are the crazies that like, anti-government this, like Fight Club type people. But those that take this shit very seriously, like the guy buying cases of guns, they're well off.
It takes all kinds. I know guys who are multi-billionaires, and their preparation for really any kind of disaster that in which they'll need to take care of their safety personally. Let's just leave it at that. Whether it's a government takeover or a government collapse or an invasion of the Chinese and the Mexicans banding together, or whatever. Like his preparation is extensive. There's underground reservoirs. There's the full lockdown mode. There's multiple 50 caliber machine guns around. There's a sniper tower. He's fully independent with all of the necessities like electricity. There's oxygen purifiers that'll pump the air underground to where the bunkers are. Like, there are people who take it very seriously.
Do I have the guy right?
No, absolutely not. No.
I got a question about this.
It would take 100 of that guy to equal this guy's worth. Like,
okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of money.
I got a question for you, Kyle, since we're on bunkers. I've always wondered this. How do you stop somebody from stuffing like a potato into your oxygen source to get you out of the bunker?
Well, ideally
hopefully you have more than one source, right?
More than one, and you just
but the fact is you're locked down. They have all the time in the world to slowly go around and sabotage you.
Well, ideally they wouldn't know where you are to begin with, and you don't just have a pipe sticking out of the ground. Like,
do you go like Rapture? Do you build trees?
Everyone's answered but Kyle.
I know. The only one who knows. So a
lot of preppers.
The idea of the bunker isn't like a fortress mentality where like you'll never get me, I'm down here, because that shit doesn't work if you think about it. They'll just wait up there till you starve. The idea is to survive, a bombing or a fallout or something like that, or to protect your goods and stuff. It's really a hidey hole more than anything. And your air supply can be sent pretty far away, and you can use boosters to power that air and circulate it appropriately. But the answer is you couldn't. If they found your oxygen supply, they could jam it up, I guess. But the idea would be that you wouldn't want them to know where your bunker was, much less the oxygen supply for the bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've thought about how long I would survive in like the apocalypse. Like, even if I was really outfitted, I would only last until I ran out of contacts, and then it's like, well shit, because I'm like legally blind. I can't see anything.
By the time you get here, I'll be governor of a pretty large area, okay? And my conscripts will be on the lookout for an owl-like man. They'll bring you to where we've got sort of a Thunderdome situation.
I'll be walking through the woods.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Walking
Face
through
the
woods
wheel.
in Georgia, and just hear loud whoosh, whoosh, and then you'll come out from behind a tree. It's about time you arrived.
I don't. It's hard for me to gauge how I do well in an apocalypse situation. In some regards, a lot of my skills are only available in this fully modernized world, right? Like, I'm pretty good with computers. I'm pretty good with the internet. All that shit will be worthless. But I've got some other skills too. People might value. I was thinking the construction stuff, the woodworking, etc.
You put that down on the list of apocalypse survival skills, Taylor. Swimming.
Yeah.
Although I'll say,
get lobsters,
dude, the TV show Survival, so that was popular a while back, right? Survival started when I was like, I don't know, 25 or something. Yeah.
Survivor.
I'm saying it wrong, but Survivor, the TV show, in those first episodes, I'm like, dude, I would fuck everybody up in these swimming challenges. Like they had to go to the bottom and get a ring, and they can hardly hold their breath and go down 12 feet. Like, you ridiculous fucking rocks of people. You are horrible at this. They have to like go 30 yards sideways and then and they're all exhausted and ruined. 30 yards. There are episodes of Survival where I would be a total ace in the hole in some of those challenges, even today.
It wasn't very representative in the beginning of Survival. I don't know how they do it now, but it used to be like what you said, like swim 35 yards, get the ring, come back. You have to do the monkey bars for 5 whole monkey bars. Count them, 5, and then you get a luau pork feast.
Motherfucker,
You know why,
I couldn't
right?
do 2 monkey bars.
So the reason why those competitions were so lame and easy was the reality shows weren't really a thing yet. You had the Real World on MTV, but this was the first like blockbuster reality show Survivor was. So there weren't, like nowadays, there are people who train and send their tapes to every reality show. Like they'll send it to like the wilderness survival people. They'll send their tape to like the Real World. Anything in every way they can get on television, they're just sending audition tapes out, and they're pumping iron to like in case they get one of the hard ones. Like there are actual acrobats who are going out and trying to do these challenges now.
Dude,
but back then it was just average
Back
Joes.
then it was way more representative
Look who won.
of the
Look
population.
who won. An overweight gay man who'd never played. He was completely unathletic. He was just a weasel. Like at the end, the vote, one woman had like the casting vote, and she's like, I have to choose between a rat and a snake. And I guess I'll choose the rat.
Yeah.
And that was how he won.
And her logic was like, well, this guy, I thought she chose a snake, but I could be wrong. But yeah, like this guy's a snake, but at least he's like an out snake, and you know the snake is there to bite you. This person pretends to be your friend. She's the weasel. She's that, and I'm not going to let her win. So he chose the one who was more like outgoing about how he was there to fuck everyone up.
So that guy's name was Richard Hatch, and he won the $1 million. Didn't pay the taxes on that money and had to go to fucking jail.
Yep.
So it ruined him.
If everything comes crashing down and you got your own little fish hatchery, yeah, you're good. As long as you don't get sick of fish.
I don't value the disaster recovery. I'm sorry, the disaster planning very much. I feel like a lot of times it's people cosplaying or wishing for apocalypses that aren't thriving in the actual environment we live in.
Well, Wendigoon's big into that. There's different flavors of those guys. I've seen guys who think of it as like cosplay for real. They're like, look, I know, but let me have my fucking bulletproof vest.
Yeah,
Dude,
let me do my hobby.
Cool. And there's guys who are like, all right, if that's your attitude, Kyle, then when the big ball drops, best not see you around the perimeter. That's all I'm saying. It's like, oh shit, he means it for reals. And there's everything in between. And I don't know what would happen that would throw us into that. That's so likely that we need to prepare for it.
An EMP is the thing.
It's like we're preparing. Well, those don't like shut us down forever. It's
solar flare, whatever that thing is that fucks everything up for a long time.
Even that, it messes up stuff that's here right now. We if anything, the economy improves because of all the shit that needs to be made and all the people. We need
like when the
10,000
forest burns
linemen.
down and it comes back so green and perfect.
Yeah, or like when a war happens and everybody's got to go build a bunch of shit, and now we've got shit. And disasters can be good for good economic events. I don't think anything's shutting us down so that we need to have a bunker with guns and food and shit like that. I really don't. The odds of that are just super, super low.
The variety of guy that I fuss at in particular is the one who's not doing that well, has no college account for his kids or whatever, but he has tens of thousands, if not 100,000 in his bunker and backup food and his armaments and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, you should have gone to college instead. You put enough money into dehydrated food to fund an education that could have actually like paid dividends in your life.
Yeah. It's like you won't give your daughter your old Civic to teach her responsibility, but you have 30 cows in a residential area like that you're bothering everyone with like that.
That would be
I can see
awesome.
that. That's just shitty.
Yeah,
actually,
I
having
just don't
30
think
cows would be hilarious.
Yeah,
that wouldn't bother me.
I'd
be like, I know those cows. Let me pet them.
Yeah,
you steal cows.
A few cows don't bother anything. It's when you got a dairy operation where your feet are a feedlot where they're not eating the grass anyway because there is no grass. They're just standing in muck and mud, and you're feeding them grain, and they're just shitting there all day. That's a dreadful thing.
Those pig CAFOs, I think they're called. Right?
I don't know what a CAFOs is.
CAFO, CAFO, isn't it an acronym for like those disgusting like pig and
Zach,
cow
can we have
farms?
a picture of
The word hog,
CAFO?
the phrase hog parlor comes to mind. I think that's the colorful language.
Well, I was trying not to get too technical.
Google hog parlor because that's in my brain. It exists in there.
Concentrated animal feeding operations. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. That's where they're like. That's the last stage before slaughter. That's when they brought those animals there from. They've been purchased from anywhere and everywhere, or bred or whatever, and now they're getting fattened up for the slaughter.
Oh,
and
you know why I knew that?
I
many years ago, I probably mentioned this on the show. One of my first classes I took in college was food science in like my freshman year. It was like some like bullshit like class that fulfilled a requirement.
Sponsored by Monsanto.
Yeah, literally, yes. And this guy, because Monsanto is a Missouri like tier, so it was. And this teacher always wore a bolo tie. He was very friendly, very fun and nice. And me and the other buddies I had made in my dorm chose this class when we were like doing our little schedules early on because it was basically like, hey, Taylor, let's take a class together. We're all going to do this. Food science. How hard could that be? That sounds ridiculous. Let's all do food science and it fulfills whatever this is. And so we all selected food science. Yes, it did. And we went in and I remember the first day he was like being all friendly. A big lecture hall. So there's like probably 500-600 people in the class. And he's up there talking and he's like giving us an example. He's like, so an example of something that might be on a test would be like, which of the following is a fruit? Like something like that was an example he gave, but he didn't really give it in that much of a jokey way. And so then me and a bunch of my buddies were like, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to go to this very often. Like, why would I bother? And so I more than my buddies, like actually would still go and pop into the class. And the first test, like I remember studying for, all I did was read through all the chapters we had and was like, all right, well, what's he going to fucking ask me? Like, what's going to be that hard? And we get in there. And like, I've never seen so many people also looking up from their test, like making eye contact with other students with like panic, because like question 1 was like, which subset of bovine hemoglobin is found in blank or something? Or what is the mechanism by which musculature is reinforced in this type of animal? Like that kind of shit. And like, I think I got like a 61% on the test, which was actually higher than the average. I think the average in the class was like a 40 or something like that. Like not even a low F, like a high. He curved it. But he had some, I think he had like some internal limit on the curve. And so like, I only got boosted up to like a B-, even though like it wasn't that bad, or it was that bad. And that was just like, it set me up to think that every class my first couple of years of college was going to be like that. And I was going to be bamboozled. And so if anything, like it made me much better going forward because I got pretty good grades overall. But that was I remember like that was the first college test that I took. And my head was like, you're too dumb for this.
Are you in the house?
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
I know. We have it's different because we lease 1,400 acres here in Texas for the coffee.
Why not more?
Yeah. But it's relatively close to the greater metro area of San Antonio. So I leave from my place to go there. So there's never really any stopping anywhere else or anything like that. But you gotta keep content going and everything. So.
Yeah.
Barely 500 hectares. Ha!
Hectares. I'll pretend I know what that means. Is it 100 acres? 1,000
It's a
acres?
YouTuber. He started Optic. And
I
instantly knew what a hectare was.
Yeah. You put a lot of hectares in 1,400 acres.
Yes, a lot of hectares.
No, it's great. You realize, because I have a really, really, really tiny apartment that I live in, and you realize really quick, soon as you quarantine or you start self-isolating, it's like, oh man, this is small. This is you try to prepare. Like when I lived in LA, I was in like a 5-bedroom house. I had earthquake supplies, I had water, I had 2 months worth of rations and stuff like that, because if that system breaks down for our supply chain in an earthquake or something like that, it's like, you want to be prepared. Yeah. And with this, I was like, okay, I got a normal sized refrigerator and freezer. I can probably get 3 days worth of toaster strudels in here, and that's about it.
I would have I expected so much more from you.
I know. I got a thousands of rounds of ammo. Thousands of rounds of ammo. No food.
The same people I know. There's so many preppers in the community that are just like scary prepped. Like I've talked about on the show in the last few weeks. Like I bought a cow a while back, and I've been raising her.
The ultimate prep.
The ultimate prep. And I now have a mini herd. There's 3 of them. We're about to slaughter old Bessie, and I'm going to buy a deep freeze and just fill that bitch up with a whole cow worth of beef.
Nice.
I'm not running out of food. I haven't been out of the house. I haven't been in my car in weeks.
A cow's worth of beef. You're set. That's an enormous amount of beef. You're going to die of heart disease before
it's a lot of beef.
Yeah,
it's funny because when you say that, like that, we've got like a lot of people that we know that are hardcore preppers. In part, that's probably one reason why I don't have such a huge stockpile of stuff, because you have like ox ranches right down the road from us.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could just live there forever, like just on the game and the water that's there.
His children will have canned peas.
Yeah, and their own cows.
Yeah, the ultimate prep would involve having a bull too, right? That's how this works.
Well, my dad. Well, I'm not necessarily looking to breed these heifers that I've gotten.
What? But it seems like a way to get free cows.
I would hope not. That's degenerate.
I mean, if it happens, it happens. But Dad's got a whole herd of cattle, so there's a bull in there.
Okay.
There's a bull in there. I feel like chickens are the ultimate prepping animal to have around.
Chickens and rabbits.
They're shitting out eggs all the time. They're kind of mean and dirty, and they don't smell good. But then they outlive their usefulness, and you can eat them.
I was about to say that's not where eggs come from, but I've been wrong before.
Yeah, and that is true, because their shit and their eggs come out of the same hole.
Is it true?
The cloaca. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got
one multi-purpose. I'm glad I didn't make fun of you.
Are you aware that the eggs that we eat are
asshole and
chicken periods?
Chicken
periods. Yeah, the eggs we eat are chicken periods.
Not fertilized.
Not fertilized. Yeah, those are the. Those are the unused.
What if women did that? Those North Georgia boys got the 4-H growing up.
Dude, it just puts a highlight on how useless women's periods are.
What if instead of spending 5 days like all bloated, uncomfortable, and bleeding, ladies just laid an egg?
That'd be so much
that would
better.
Be great. They just you hear them for like 15 minutes in the bathroom once a month, just and then it's like, don't you flush that? It's breakfast.
You wake up, you hear eggs? Yeah.
Eggs.
Yeah. Well, egg.
Egg. Who wants egg this morning? It's like, I'll go with the chickens.
How big would the egg be? Would it be like uncomfortably large ostrich egg? Would it be chicken egg size?
I don't know. How big is the chicken's cloaca compared to the size of the egg? Because if we're going by that gauge,
you can just barely fuck it.
Barely. Okay. you can like pinky fuck it a little bit. So I would say, going by that size, we'd be seeing like 5 times 10. Actually, no, more like 10 times the size of a chicken egg, right? If we're going by
when you're judging them, you do reach up in there.
Yeah. I don't date anyone. It's like
I think it would be the size of a baby's head, right?
Yeah. My head is a baby. We'd be living in all male society.
We all know that your mother exploded during your birth. So.
Yes. We're sorry. She passed while she was giving birth to him. It's like, how? Massive blood loss. And I've never seen it before. Actually, spontaneous combustion. Just exploded.
So all you guys have been self-isolating, staying at home.
Pretty
I haven't
much
been as long as these two, but I've been doing it for like a week now, and it's been not that great. I mean, I still go out to the store if I need something, but I'm really, really limiting it. You know, I've kind of stopped that at this point because I'm now realizing toilet paper is not coming back anytime soon. I've got enough toilet paper for like, I don't know. I'm kind of making that up. Like toilet paper, I've got maybe 2 weeks worth of toilet paper, and then I've got a fuck ton of paper towels, but I don't want to be flushing paper. I don't want to wipe my ass with paper towels.
It's not that bad.
It's not that gentle either. I have a tender, a sensitive asshole.
The modern anus is so coddled.
My anus is so coddled.
That's a Dwight Schrute quote.
I'm on the other end of the spectrum. But okay, so most of my life, I felt like Jackie has had it kind of easy, right? I have to bring the money in, and then she runs the house. And bringing the money in is like the more stressful, challenging. Like I'm out there battling the world, and she's in here in the cocoon. Now the tables have turned, right? Toilet paper? I don't know, woman, just make it happen, would you? Like, yeah, I went to 4 different stores to sell chicken.
She's knitting.
Why are you bothering me with this? Like, that's really your task. And she's out there like foraging for whatever we need. Toilet paper, we don't have a problem. We had an Amazon subscription. She opens this like double door closets. She's like, yeah, we really should have been 12 weeks instead of 6, I guess.
Yeah. See, what a happy accident.
I thought she was hoarding the wet wipes. We keep those in the house because I don't know how many we have. Like the packages of them, like 150, like a lot, way more than we need. So I
was looking into ordering one of those bidets that you just hook up to your toilet, like you just kind of screw it into the water line or whatever, and you have a little remote. I guess maybe that's how all bidets work, where you sit on it and then there's a little dial on the side. And then I was thinking like I'll end up fucking up that installation somehow.
I set mine to a live stream camera and the viewers control it.
That's hilarious. You're just taking streams off the front stream on your nuts the whole time.
Yeah, they know. They get extra points if they hit the hole. You know, it's a fun game. They love it. Yeah, they love it.
Welcome to my Twitch stream. Big upward angle look at your hairy asshole.
Yeah.
Actually, I bet your asshole isn't that hairy. I bet it's
clean.
got a decent amount of hair, but I bet it's less than you'd think. I bet your toes rival your asshole in hairiness.
Oh, I shave the toes with my beard trimmer because they get long. My toe hair gets pretty outrageous.
You do have some long toe hair.
It gets itchy. Socks pull it like backwards, and then when you take them off, they're really sore. So I just shave all that off.
That's the best feeling ever, taking off long socks after a long day and feeling all your leg. Then my leg hair goes up and the kids they come and touch it. And he's almost Bill Cosby now, apparently. So
I ate an MRE the other day for dinner. I had waited too long, and I didn't have any groceries, and I'd waited too long to order food. And,
but you're near Atlanta. Like, don't you have like nearly 24-hour services?
I don't want to drive. I don't want to
leave.
I'm high as fuck.
But there isn't 24-hour delivery like Postmates?
No, not 24 hours. They close eventually.
Yeah, they close when the stores do.
Okay. Yeah, so I had my cheese tortellini MRE, and I broke that bad boy out, and it was awful. It was awful.
Cheese tortellini. How could you ruin cheese tortellini?
The cheese tortellini was actually the best part. The rest of it was like, it was like a bag of peanuts, freeze dry, and like not freeze dry, vacuum sealed peanuts. And I was like, ooh, let's see what the other snack is. And it was trail mix, but the trail mix was nothing but peanuts. So I just
that's not true. Look, now we're in my wheelhouse. That's not true. Trail mix.
There was peanuts, like 3 cashews, and
no M&Ms?
These little pretzel balls. Like they were like a pretzel, but they were like the size of a Skittle or something, and that was it.
Disappointed U.S. Army.
There was the MRE crackers, and there was the peanut butter and chocolate spread, which meant that there were 3 items with peanuts in there. Like it was a peanut bag. It was a peanut bag. It is all it was. And
is that the only one you had? The only MRE?
I had one. Well, I got a whole bunch of MREs like at a location, but like I got my MREs here.
I
just had the one.
In your bug out shack in the middle of the woods.
wherever my MREs are, it doesn't matter. They are where they are.
But especially not there.
Bit of a prepper.
I wouldn't talk about that sort of thing ever.
That's how you can tell. You can tell the real preppers from the fake ones because the real ones never talk about prepping. And the fake ones always talk about prepping.
Well, it's just some people see it as a hobby and some people see it as a contingency.
Yeah, but the ones who are like taking it seriously were like, there's going to be an EMP. Like, they're like, son, did you mention all of this at school? we're pulling you out. We're going. Like the serious ones aren't going on that show, I would say.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. Especially the ones who have like stuff to lose. Like it's one thing if you're like already kind of, you're just an average guy and you're just looking for enough like rice and beans to keep you alive in some weird scenario. But like if you're already like a millionaire who's like enjoying his like lifestyle, or 100 millionaire or whatever, like those guys' plans are always extreme.
Yeah, and those ones are the coolest because they set up prepping in a way where it's like, I'm not prepping to survive. I'm prepping to not lose a step in my quality of life. Like I need my live-in servants and all this shit. I bet Bezos and Musk, all those guys have contingency plans at the bottom of the, maybe underneath the Denver airport, if Woody's assumption is correct. We don't know.
If I had like Musk money, I might not want to live in the next thing. Like that, you can only go down from here. It would suck. I don't know. Like when I see people who kill themselves because of a zombie outbreak, I'm like, they might have the right idea.
Yeah, it's pretty selfish.
There's not a lot of joy coming your way.
Because, well, I guess it depends on the kind of zombies. If it's the kind of zombie that's like airborne and when you die, you come back as a zombie, very selfish to kill yourself without like a guillotine. But if it's like you have to be bit, I could see that. Definitely.
Just shoot
checking out
at the temple, and most of the lore, I see that.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. I figured the people killing themselves would be the ones without guns in this scenario. Just killing yourself before someone gets to you. It steals your fucking, rice cakes.
Not your rice cakes.
Not my flavorless styrofoam bullshit.
You can have them.
Rice cakes are bullshit.
They're
even
awful.
Bullshit as a diet. I was raised with the idea that rice cakes were like 0 calories.
You think 10, right?
You think 10. It's not. A low calorie rice cake is like 60.
You could have a bagel almost. Like get it the fuck over with and have a real food.
They're fucking horrible. And you put peanut butter on a rice cake or something and you think you're having a low cal treat. No. This is a calorie dense bullshit make you fat meal. It turns out we all know that rice makes you fat. But we thought rice cakes were like somehow like not part of that like rule set.
Rice or something. Like they poofed out all the bad part and just left us with
all the calories and just leave you the air.
Rice cakes are not the ticket, boys.
The lowest the calorie rice cake I ever had was years ago when I was trying to lose weight, and there were 35 calories, low salt. And like,
were they super thin?
They were maybe that thin. So not they were pretty sizable.
Yeah.
But immediately when you bite in, like it's like almost like a loaf of sourdough. There were hollow areas in the cake, like which I didn't think was possible in a rice cake. Yeah, it sucks all the moisture out of your mouth. It takes you forever to eat it, and you're hating it the whole time.
I bought low calorie rice cakes. I bought them on Amazon, so I didn't like see them in. You know how you can maybe not get that perspective.
Yeah,
like low calorie rice cakes. For 30 calories, like it's better than nothing. Maybe it'll hold you over and help you get to your next meal, dude. A 30 calorie rice cake was like half a centimeter thick. It was like 2 rice tall. But like this bullshit. You didn't have any special tricks. You just gave me smaller servings.
A rice cake is a great way to miss food. Like it's a great way to remind yourself, I remember eating. Yeah. I'm hungry now for survival type food after we're talking about all this. I mean, you said you got a bunch of pasta, Kyle. Did you get any protein pasta? Have you ever had that? Do you know what that is?
I've had it before. It's all right. I just got regular pasta because it was, like I said, it was buy one, get one free. And like, I think it cost like $1.50. So I was essentially buying a big box of pasta, like way more than enough for a meal, like enough for like a 4-person meal for $1.20 or something. Or no, wait, it was 90 cents. So like you could do like 4 meals for like $2 if you made like, if you added tomato sauce or if you added Velveeta, which is just mac and cheese or whatever. It was just so cheap. And so like I didn't want to go crazy and buy like the food buckets or the MREs. We talked about it on PKN, how they're so overpriced. These peanuts are good too.
Did you do that at the store or did you order everything?
I order everything.
So and I know Woody doesn't go to the grocery store. So every grocery store I've been to in the last week, it's only like 2 maybe. Mm-hmm. They all have signs up limiting consumption of toilet paper packs to 2 per person. Yeah. No signs in the water area, no signs in the food area, the pasta and the canned food. Like, what was it? I don't remember H1N1 being like this. Like, was toilet paper the big thing? What the hell is up with that? Why?
It happens during hurricanes a lot, earthquakes, any natural disaster.
Snow
when people
in
are
the
worried.
South.
Snow for sure. It's snow anywhere, but little snow in the South. We'll do it. We have excuses. We do, and we don't have the infrastructure to deal with it like they do up north. But in any case, yeah, everybody was buying out the toilet paper. I was thinking ahead. Bought my toilet paper a month ago. I got so much TP, and I bought paper towels too. Like when that girl was walking up my driveway with this thing of paper towels.
That poor woman.
You couldn't see her.
She's fucking Sisyphus going up the mountain with her boulder of toilet paper.
Like Atlas. Like Atlas with it on top of her, holding the fucking world up. Yeah, I use Instant Cart for all my grocery deliveries. I wish they were a sponsor, and I would sing their praises even more than I already do. Instant Cart is so fucking good. I think I pay a yearly fee, the same way I do for Amazon Prime, the same way I do for Postmates. Like I sign up for Postmates Unlimited or something like that. So it's amazing. My overhead is very small. Like the premium, I should say, the premium that I pay for my groceries is very small. It's like a $4 tip plus tax, and then the items are usually like 10 cents more expensive than they would have been if I drove to the store. And but the thing is, like, the way I used to shop is I would put a grocery list together at home, and I just put the grocery list together on my phone over the course of an entire day. And before I go to bed, I've got everything that I would have thought of, and I just like schedule it for the next morning at 9 a.m. Yeah. And at 9 a.m. my groceries show up, and it's a huge amount. And I take advantage of all the deals. Like, you may not know that like Diet Pepsi is buy 2 get 1 free. Well, shit, give me 6 12-packs then. I'll do that. Unfortunately, that bitch sent me Diet Coke. As everyone knows, both myself and Wings of Redemption do not like Coca-Cola. All right?
Diet Coke is not nearly as good as Diet Pepsi,
This
and
is
Diet
disgusting.
Pepsi is not nearly as good as Diet Dr. Pepper.
100% agree
Dr.
with
Pepper is the winning combo.
This is Coca-Cola, and I hate it. Diet Coke, I drink like this much of a can every time. As soon as it's not 34 degrees anymore, I can't fucking.
Are you still guzzling those Diet cream sodas and Diet root beers?
They ran out at my grocery store.
Oh, that sucks. Like that is the thing that has run out at my grocery store when everything else is in stock. Like they don't have nearly enough facings of it, because every time I go, I'm the guy who's like, oh, they've got Diet cream soda back in stock. Well, I don't want 12. I want 48. Yeah. Oh, they only have 36. Well, that'll hold me over until Tuesday.
I've really gotten into unsweet
power
tea.
through those
like,
things.
I put sweet and low in there. I put like a good chunk of lemon in there, and I love my unsweet tea. It's got I get a gallon of uncaffeinated and a gallon of caffeinated, and if I start getting a little shaky, because I drink a ton of coffee throughout the day, I'll switch to the decaffeinated. But for the most part, I just drink that most of the time. I really, really like it. It's almost as good as sweet tea. I've told that story right before about where I was like thinking that I was like drinking my unsweet tea. I put my sweet and low and my lemon in there, and I'm drinking. And I'm like, oh, it's like candy. Yes, Wings of Redemption. Wake the fuck up, bro. Stop drinking your sweet tea. And I'm drinking this unsweet tea, and I'm loving it. I'm like, this is candy. It's just I only put a teaspoon of sweet and low in like a big glass, and it's so sweet and tasty. And like, I get halfway through the gallon of unsweet tea, and I happen to like turn it in the refrigerator. Sweet tea. I'm sweetening sweet tea. I poured it down the drain. I poured it down the drain. I can't have that in my house. I don't drink that shit.
Something else that I've been looking at online of people saying like I've been looking at prepper stuff, partially because it's just fun to see the kind of little stockpiles that people have made, where it's like, damn, this guy's got his shit under control. But a lot of them are saying, hey, buy all your food, get your high caloric stuff for when you're going to need it, and then make sure you get as many vitamins as you can, your canned, whatever. But then buy a fuck ton of like 1-a-day vitamins and like certain supplements, so that you get your vitamin C or your vitamin D or your fucking calcium or whatever. Do you have any of that?
Yeah.
Like any multivitamins, or what did you buy of that?
I got like 1-a-day men's Centrum or something like that. I like the gummies, frankly, because I don't like
they're
taking
gummies. It's like a treat.
Pills kind of make me gag sometimes. Like I would make a terrible gay man because like pills can make me really gag sometimes. I got the gag reflex. Just can't.
I'd be a
handle it.
great gay man. I could throat a whole handful of pills, no water.
My penis is tiny. You'll both do fine.
I take them dry. So yeah, I got a bunch of the gummies. I've been taking those gummies forever. I would buy like a 4-pack off Amazon at a time or something like that. So like,
but you didn't get like a specific like, oh, I'm getting my C or I'm getting my fucking magnesium.
No, I get the multivitamin. I just get the multivitamins. I do have some krill oil, which I also take.
I have some of that.
Skin and hair. I take krill oil. Krill oil isn't as fishy as fish oil. Fish oil will give me like these burps, and I'm just like it's like burping that bad pussy juice that I just ate a minute ago. And they've
disgusting. Got fish oil pills that have some other ingredient in there that keeps you from burping up that nastiness.
I think krill oil is better and doesn't come with that fishy taste. So
well, isn't the thing like the closer the animal is to the bottom of the food chain is the less they consume of mercury. So like eating tuna, you're consuming more mercury per amount of food, whereas eating a sardine, much, much less. Or krill.
God, don't tell me that. Well, you need mercury.
Yeah, it's an essential. That's why I take mercury supplements.
Yeah,
and God, do I feel awful? My gallium suppositories.
I rub it in. Like,
you know how hard it is to shove a metal that melts the second it touches your asshole up there? Yeah, it's tough.
I inject mine. I warm it up. I put it in a syringe. Put it.
No, it's gallium. It's gallium.
Just like no, it's going in my butt. I just warm it up in a little thing of simmering water, and
like an enema.
No.
Yeah.
King Nebuchadnezzar swore by this stuff. And he died at 38, so I think he knows what he's talking about.
He ruled over a quarter of the world, honey.
Yeah.
All right.
He ruled over Babylon like a king.
The king of kings.
Pretty cool. So yeah, I'm really fascinated by all this prepper stuff. It makes me want to learn survival stuff. Even though, like, if I actually had to go survive in the woods, I would be absolutely fucked. But just like, having it as a little hobby, learning stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fun. I love those shows. I was I did a video once for what was it? Oh shit. They paid me so much money. I can't remember. It was either it may have been prep. It was one of those prepper shows. I don't remember which.
Doomsday Preppers.
I think it was Doomsday Preppers. I think they sponsored a video one time, and I wanted to do a whole thing. I wanted to build an underground bunker. I wanted to bury a Connex box. You know what a Connex box is?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a storage.
I'm sure people listening don't know.
It's like a box car. It's like it's like one of those big metal rectangular box cars that you see on trains.
Or shipping containers. You see tons and tons of them on the giant ships.
I was exactly on the giant ships. I wanted to bury it, have a hatch in the top with a ladder and like that you would peel back up on ground level, and you go down a ladder down in there, and it'd be fully like. And they're like, "No, we just want you to shoot some cool guns." And I was like, "All right,
you're not going to teach me how to survive and how to prep." And
I thought I was going to get a free bunker out of this deal. That was my goal. I was like,
"Yeah, the first thing we do when we teach somebody how to prep, it's called fluffing." And if you want into my underground storage container matrix, you're going to do some fluffing. Yeah. I thought that would be a good idea too. And then I watched a YouTube video of someone who was making an underground bunker like that. And they explained that the angles of the shipping container is like the worst possible pressure distribution for being underground. Like you want kind of a domed thing so that doesn't collapse on you.
You pour concrete around it and it holds it up.
I didn't. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. In any case, I didn't end up with a bunker, or did I? And so
you moved.
Well, he's got his bug out bag and he's ready to go.
No, he brings the bunker with him, I guess.
Doesn't mean the bunker's not where I left it.
Oh, yeah, and maybe other people don't see it.
They definitely would not see it. It's underground. It's buried.
Mm-hmm. Hidden hatch.
Good.
But you know what? Hey, in the apocalypse, that'll come in handy. So I'm not really mad at it.
It will. Yeah, it's good to have a dog.
I've been watching
to do that.
I've been rewatching Walking Dead, and it's so fucking upsetting that there's still. It's like I'm in season 5 or 6 or so.
Yeah.
And the main way they kill zombies, keeping in mind, if the zombie bites you, you die. If they bite you on the hand, we got to cut your hand off really quick. Your arm, your whole arm. And that's like it, because you can't really live without your fucking leg in this post-apocalyptic war. You're just a nuisance then. Yep. So anywhere, it's just a death sentence to be bitten. But they're still stabbing them in the head with pocket knives. That's what everybody does. And so anytime an overwhelming amount of them come, basically more than we can, if they show up in like quicker than we can stab them, then we're overwhelmed and we got to run away or go to guns. But guns are ridiculous because they're just stumbling people who can bite. And it's like, why did they never make some bite-proof armor? Because a good motorcycle outfit is fully bite-proof. Like from the gloves to the helmet to the boots to the every bit. If you're dressed to slide down asphalt, you're bite-proof.
Yeah. Like you need that Russian bear armor.
And I know that'd be hot, but it's better than being eaten alive, which is the alternative. And then it's like, man, a spear would hit the spot, wouldn't it? Like, holy shit! What if we had a shield with a groove in it, and the spear sat in there, and Spartan I could just headshot. What if I put a laser on the spear because it is 2005? Headshot. Like, why are
even
we
a
stabbing them, boys?
With one of those like guiding things?
Anything, dude. That's what. Honestly, that'd be fucking killer.
You know what I'd actually want? Like, instead of a spear, would be like a trident. Something that
why?
But
so that way there's like it's wider. You could hit multiple at the same time if they're kind of like a pitchfork. Would be good
more easily. Barbs on the end.
You don't want it to get stuck in the head though.
A pitchfork then.
You imagine more of a pitchfork point on the end.
Yeah, pitchfork would be good. And that way, like if it has inertia and it's coming towards you or something,
I wasn't kidding about the laser sight.
It's gonna stop it on the rounded part. It's not going to like fall through your whole spear and you're like, oh fuck, now I got half my spear sticking through this zombie head and I can't break it because the skull's not rotted enough. Just like a little pop 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 pop.
You want me to tell you something else? Screw your head up because I'm a huge zombie fan. I watch everything zombie related. But one thing that it's really nerdy of me, but I think is valid point. One thing that they don't use in the apocalypse movies that would really happen in real life is mode of transportation. And you always see horses and you always see, Daryl Dixon and his cool Harley looking bike and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, everybody would be using bicycles. Why don't you ever see people using bicycles in zombie movies? Think about it.
Probably because like the people on the show are like, no, that's not cool enough.
Exactly.
It would.
Exactly. You don't want to see Daryl Dixon riding around on a Schwinn bike with,
I don't think I would. I think I'd want to be on foot.
No.
We're talking about like
the cities and stuff.
Yeah, having a bike would be helpful.
No, I'd be mountain biking.
We're talking about post-apocalypse, I suppose, sort of Walking Dead zombie style thing, and getting around. I mean, I think I'd want a motorcycle with some storage on it.
Well, stand by. It's important. Are there zombies though?
Yeah,
motorcycles.
Yeah, we're talking about a zombie.
I like cars, man, and I'm a bike guy.
But gas doesn't last that long.
Oh,
does it last longer?
Well, is it walking? All right, I was.
No, he means like a physical, like pedaling bike, like that.
Yeah, I'm talking like a bicycle.
Wolf does. I don't think that's what Kyle said.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was using the Walking Dead fake scenario where gasoline lasts forever, and we always find enough for Daryl Dixon's motorcycle and our Hyundai Sonata.
Ultimate car of the post-apocalypse. Do you think they still get
Sonata is?
You're like, oh, we're
2008 Hyundai Sonata, and the apocalypse started in 2005. What's going on, Rick? What's going on?
God, the apocalypse was so much more boring after we lost our XM free subscription. 12 months into it.
Like, remember what, Rick? We don't have much water, but make sure that Sonata's polished up, nice and shiny. We gotta pay the bills. And that show is already the biggest show on TV. Those fucking cocksuckers.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, Keegan and his crew. Was it Keegan, the guy with the bat?
Megan,
and all the guys, they'd be all on BMXs riding around, like 20 of them.
All right, so if we're in a world where, and I think it is the case, like I think if you want a car, gasoline goes dead, and so I don't know where you get more. I don't know if there's a way to store gasoline where it doesn't go dead, and the same's true for diesel. What would work is any kind of vehicle that was rigged up to run on propane. A lot of city buses here in Atlanta run on propane. And you can get propane anywhere in vast quantities, and it's easy to get it from there's facilities, is what I'm saying, Woody, and they're easy to find because it's like, look at that gigantic white bubble of propane over there. So you could and it'd be easy to get it from the big tank to a medium tank to a small tank if you needed to, and you figure it out.
I worry that it's dangerous. Like
which part?
I don't know. I'm thinking in a Mad Max scenario where like the warlords control the fuel supply. It might go down like that.
I mean, there's just propane everywhere in the South. Like those tanks in people's backyards, and there's propane grills everywhere. I don't know how
propane accessories.
Like if you think about, think about it. At my house right now, there's 3 of those fucking things of propane. Yeah. And I've seen those trucks that run on that. Like you just fucking screw right in. Like that would be ideal.
I kind of like the notion that Kyle's in a school bus.
Well, not the school bus, but
the city bus.
Normal size vehicles. Yeah. They make trucks, like a car, a motor vehicle of normal size and capacity that runs on propane.
But a man of your stature should have a bus.
Pump it out, though.
A bus.
You should be a cult leader.
There should
I
also
would
be...
love to be a cult leader. It's hard to get up.
You think you've got what it
takes? Make your charisma stat to get that. You can't get that charisma roll because the enemies have too much of a modifier on them. It's too easy because it's not the movies for people just to blow you away and take all your shit, because that's always option B. So you got to somehow initiate dialogue without them immediately going to option B, and then convince someone who apparently has an advantage over you, because it's going to never happen like in the movies where 2 people point guns at each other and then start talking. That shit's never happened ever. I can't imagine.
No.
Somebody turns around, there's guns pointed at them, and they're moving to point guns. Everyone dies now, or more likely, everyone who has, those people with less guns die.
The people opt to talk die.
Yeah, you don't want to be talking to anybody, know. So the idea of getting a cult together, like you might get I don't know, it'd be so hard to trust anybody or about any fucking thing because you're all in the same scenario where what it's like. You'd lie. I've
played enough DayZ to know that I won't last. Bro. I will trust someone, and it won't work out well.
Yeah, I'll think I've made a friend, and then I'll be in a stew pot.
Exactly. Before long, I'm on my knees, and he's asking me to squeal, or he's going to take all my things. And
like, no, you don't want to eat me. I'm disgusting. Like,
I think there could be a scenario where one man met another solo man, and we could come to an agreement. And I could believe in that. Like, look, it's hard like without somebody watching.
Oh, that's very Last of Us of you. Very.
It'd be like, man, it's hard to watch your back, when you're out here on your own. Look, I don't have a whole lot of shit. You don't have a whole lot of shit. I don't want to fight you. Do you want to fight me? And you're like, not really. Like especially if one of us, if the big guy's hurt or something, and like maybe we can talk this out and work together. I'll look after you, and that's ideal. But I can't imagine me and my boys coming upon like Taylor with a skint knee and a big fat backpack full of we don't know what, and he's got his he doesn't have anything in his hands. Man, it's gonna be hard to even start talking. We'll talk, but it's to find out anybody else around here before we get started.
This scenario out in my head where I find a thickly muscled survivalist with a gunshot in his deltoid, and I nurse him back to health, thinking that we're going to be a partnership when this is done. Meanwhile, I'm like that girl that dated the guy all through med school, and when he finally starts earning, he trades me in for somebody better.
God damn.
You're
the Miata that he got rid of for the Beamer.
Yeah.
you need to have a skill set that makes you essential, which is something I rapidly find out. Like,
that's why I don't.
Taylor's like, accents were worth so much more pre-apocalypse.
Yeah. Damn. Now they're just upset. And they're like, you're not helping. And it's like, why are you even saying this to me? I am helping so much. And they're like, stop pretending to be an Indian guy and carry the water jugs. God, this guy's been an absolute nightmare from sunup to sundown every day.
I would just really appreciate someone just to watch my back while I slept, or someone that had another skill set that I just didn't have at all. And I know some stuff. Like I know where a lot of guns are stored. Like I know where I know where the guns that you see in Walking Dead are stored right now. Like I know where that company is and where it's located here in Atlanta. Like
I'd have to lie like that fat guy who is like, I don't remember what his fucking name is from Walking Dead, but he's like, I worked for the virology department of the United States
Eugene.
government. I'm entirely certain that is not within our operational capacity.
That's pretty good, actually.
Shit like that. And like, I would get like 3 sentences in and they'd be like, how do electrical outlets work? And I'd be like, that is not relevant to the discussion at hand. And they'd be like,
but Eugene knew that. See, like Eugene knew things like that. He was a very jack of all trades kind of guy. There was a time where they make a water filter really quickly out of a water bottle, and sand and dirt and pebbles, and like, you know, you start with small things, go to big, to make this like makeshift water filter just to get the particulates out before you boil it. And she's like, yeah, Eugene taught me this. Like Eugene was the guy who knew when they need to repair the solar thing, like what parts to look for. And you know, he was the bullet maker.
Reload bullets too.
Yeah,
that was a big part.
I'm like an amateur.
I know how to do all those things. That not Eugene knew some advanced stuff, that metallurgy stuff, but like I just know where to get stuff. I know where some stuff's held.
What's the most prepper stuff you have, Wolf?
I have food stores. You shouldn't be talking about this because prepper.
That's all right. No one watches.
Rules are not to tell everyone.
I ain't got shit.
Exactly.
Hypothetically,
I even get now. I'm getting stuff to review on my YouTube channel and stuff like that. Like someone just sent me this ultimate match that never goes out or something like that. Like this product, and I've got like several 55 gallons of water set up. I've got gas masks, as you just saw.
You know what I have?
I've got a whole bunch of stuff, and it's like
clothing that makes me zombie proof.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I have clothing that makes me zombie proof.
Right. We said that in your absence. That motorcycle get up is zombie proof.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't bite through that.
Yeah.
But it's like it's funny because when COVID came and people were like running and getting toilet paper and getting masks and stuff. I was the guy in my family like the lockdowns happened like March, I think it was, over here. And I said in January, I sent a text. I think I still have it on my phone. I sent a text because I already have like several boxes of the masks. And I said, you guys need to buy these now for a box of 20. They're $9 at Home Depot. Go pick some up. Right. And they're laughing at me. Oh, Wolf, you're always doing your weird prepper stuff and your weird, saving water and all this stuff. And, I had that prepper wet dream come true where, all the lockdowns started and everyone ran out of toilet paper and the mask went from $9 a box to $50 a box. And, it all went down and everything. And I was like, everyone was panicking. I was still home in my house, chilling with a whole bunch of soap and gloves and stuff like that. So I think I have almost everything. I've got generators and a few other things that I can't say, but for a certain amount of time I can hold out. And then for when I can't, I hopefully got enough skills to take it from people who don't know. I don't know.
You got to use your tactical skills for good when you become the cult leader of Canada.
Right.
When you depose Trudeau and take your spot at the reins. What is that mask you were holding? And is that like a is that like a chemical mask? Like
it's a full-on gas mask. And it's got there's different filters you can use for depending on what you need it for. The filters I have are pretty strong. It goes from anything from tear gas to nuclear fallout. Right. This is just a random one. This is not one of my good ones. I just use this for show when I do reviews and stuff. I actually have a code on my channel for getting these gas masks, but these are pretty good that you can run around your place and they don't fog up and everything when it gets humid outside. And I have a more tactical one where instead of the full face, it's got the 2 eyes type of thing. And that's a little more tactical per se. So I have these. I have these.
Look cooler.
Pretty much.
It's more intense. Is it like is a filter for nuclear fallout? Is that kind of like a duck and cover thing? Like if you how are you like, because if it's fucking everywhere, I feel like you're dead anyway, right?
Well, it depends because when you have fallout, obviously you don't want any ashes on you or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you're gonna go out. You can't just use a mask alone. You're gonna need a full on suit. You don't need like technically a hazmat suit. You just need like a really strong bodysuit, duct tape around the gloves, all that stuff, and a few other tricks. Iodine pills to make sure you don't catch anything. And certain, and then you need a cleaning station for when you get back in your house. So if you get to your house, you need a cleaning station at the front to wash all this stuff out because it's still radioactive. Somewhere to store that stuff or get rid of it, and clean your mask and all that stuff, and then change out the filter and start from scratch again when you have to go out again. So there's a whole process to it, like a boot changing station to make sure you don't track stuff all over the place. And I have certain stuff for me and the kids, and I even keep a bug out bag in my car with a gas mask and other stuff in it in case, like, something hits Toronto. I'm on the highway and my car goes dead from the EMP, and I got to walk it home. I can put on certain things that I keep in my car, my gas mask and a suit, and walk home. I even keep a skateboard in the car so I can get home faster. But
the EMP goes off. Like, think of how fast everything goes to shit. No internet, no news, no communication with your family, your friends. Like, everyone is instantly atomized and separated. Like, it would go mad instantly.
And you know what? COVID taught me a lot about human interaction and how quick people will turn on each other. And it's like, remember, supermarkets only carry enough food for 3 days.
Yeah,
that's it. You know what I mean? Like, people keep thinking, you're watching movies and they'll go to the supermarket. Like, look at how quickly food ran out during COVID. Like, really fast. Like, stuff the shelves are empty instantly. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's scary. And it's like, and 90% of people don't know how to take care of themselves, when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm not one of those paranoid guys, but I'm like, I was fine in my house for a good amount of time, not having to go anywhere and not, you know what I mean? Not worried about.
I don't remember COVID like you do at all. Like, I remember a shortage on toilet paper, but otherwise I just had food delivered to my house.
If you were lucky. Like,
everybody was lucky.
MP, how's that gonna happen?
Well, okay, I was talking about COVID though. Like, I feel like you're like, hey, you know what? My prepper thing really turned out to be, money in the bank when COVID hit. And I'm like, really? I just used a bidet and had fucking luxuries delivered to my house all the time.
Wolf, he just used being rich to solve that whole thing. It wasn't an issue if you're rich.
You know what? Like, it's a joke, and I get it. It's good. But if being rich solves the problem, it wasn't an apocalypse. It wasn't even a real big problem.
No. It wasn't even close to an apocalypse. I mean, COVID was just like a quiz. It wasn't even a test. You know what I mean? Like, it was like the bare minimum of what could happen. And people
it was just a toilet paper shortage. And
there was certain foods you couldn't get. There was certain meats you couldn't get. The trucks were running behind and stuff like that. There was certain certain medicines you couldn't get.
A shelf that held my dumbbells was slow in shipping. That was probably my biggest COVID sacrifice.
It's devastating.
I was mad.
Meanwhile, people like losing their jobs, getting their homes, having their lives destroyed. It's like, just use DoorDash, dumbass. Like, just
like, again, I'd never compare that to like a real apocalypse scenario, but at the same time, like I just watched how people treated each other overall, and it was like, people fighting over toilet paper in the lineups, and getting big balls of water, and people fighting about like there's like bottled water shortage at some point in certain places, and it depends if you're rural or by cities. Like, it is crazy, right? Like, I remember like the blackout in the late 90s, and people living downtown Toronto in 40-foot buildings and had to come down the stairs every day to do stuff, right? So, like, when you're a prepper or an amateur prepper, you take all that stuff into consideration and try to plan for the worst. And you look like the crazy guy on your block, but at the same time, if I'm running on those plates and training for certain things, it's like, I know one of my neighbors are like, oh, if anything happens, I'm coming to you. You know what I mean? So it's like, like I said, I was when I was first selling these gas masks and stuff, I was like, okay, all the stuff that you have in your house not going to matter if you can't breathe. You know what I mean? Like there's weird things like that people don't think of, and it's like
I've always thought that it doesn't matter if you can't defend it. You know, because
exactly.
You have to start with a gun or none of the other a gun or like a hole to hide in. Like you've got a bunker where you can be self-sufficient, live underground, and you're just down there in some sort of silo or something. And I know people who have systems like that with air filtration, enormous systems, stockpiles of food and energy down there. People who can spend months. It's up in a place. You know what it is. Millionaire crazy people. But it all goes back to a guy. You know what else he has? Stockpiles of ammo. He owns a firearms company, you know, so like all that shit to defend
Owning a firearms company would be very big for the apocalypse. You're probably strapped. Yeah, and I want to get back to
how to use it.
Did you ever see The Stand?
Yes, I read The Stand while I was in prison.
I just think while you were in prison, because I just think of like that scene where I forget the guy's name. But the one guy who like is in prison during the super virus and survives, but then he's still stuck there. Like that's just what I picture.
The Stand was interesting. That virus kills super fast and is super virulent at the same time. So like that opening scene where you've got like a family of 3 or something like coasting into the gas station pumps, and they're all like, "What's going on in there?" And they're all blood coming out of their eyes, and they've shit themselves. And that's at least we're not dealing with something like that.
Yeah, yet.
That's called Corona Extra.
Yeah. The new sponsor of the podcast.
Young people get Corona Light.
Yeah.
I bet you can get Corona as a sponsor right now, cheap as fuck.
What do you think what do you think will go away? Because when we come out of this, and look, we're going to come out of this, but when we come out of this, society will be changed in a profound way. Nobody ever predicted anything that would make us stay indoors for a couple of weeks, let alone the possibility of a couple of months. When we come out of this, do you think that there's some stuff that people were like fighting for that they thought mattered, that they're not like the idea of like those idiots who identify as animals? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like the people who are just like, I really want you guys to call me a snake. I just feel like I'm a snake. Like, will that person just come out of their house and be like, hey, I'm sorry guys, I'm just happy to be alive. Like it's cool. We're outdoors now.
No, they'll just be more express. I think they'll take it the other way. Life is short, boys. Let's get our clopping shoes on and let's clop around town on all fours with a horse head jiggling around. No, you get in the back. We're No, I think they'll do that. I think what will change, because you said nobody predicted this. Yeah. Nobody reputable predicted this. There's a whole group of crazies who have been predicting this for a long time. I did a video once. One of those prepper TV shows, like Doomsday Preppers, paid me to do a video for them, and very popular show that spawned several copycats, and it's a real thing. And I've met some of these people who are extreme preppers, like millions of dollars spent on prepping to the point where it's like you'll be the Negan of your state, like people who have giant air filtration systems for like huge underground facilities. People who have like anti-aircraft guns and tanks of their own and have stockpiled ammunition for those things, weapon caches, and just silly stuff like National Guard level preparation. And then there's plenty of people who just have like a bunker in their backyard with an air hole and enough food for a year.
All right. I got so much. Steve, I think work from home policies will change for good. That's my prediction. I think that lots of people will got a taste for working from home in offices where they didn't do that before. And will become a viable way to do their jobs. That I think will happen.
Do you think that meetings will finally fucking be emails? No. Like all the time that they have like these stupid weekly meetings that they could have been an email.
It'll just be a conference call.
Yeah,
conference calls. I think conferences will turn into shows. I think that maybe more often, instead of 1,500 people, 40,000 people going to E3, it'll just turn into a well-produced display show.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I think the capability for the infrastructure that will support those things might be more in place and more readily available in case there is another thing like this. But once this is over, it's going to be the opposite. Everybody's going to want to be out. Like it's not like everybody is following the advice anyway, but I think people are going to want to express that freedom, and they're going to want to crowd those convention centers.
I think actually, like I'm expecting like as soon as I put tickets on sale for the shows afterward, I'm going to sell like 14, 15 a show. Like it's just really going to be
crazy. Completely different ball game. I've got faith. The last thing,
You sons of bitches.
Negan of the State. I don't think that Negan becomes people don't know Negan is a character in The Walking Dead who created a following of violent people who for some period of time ruled the living.
I just assumed that it was just a new racial slur that Kyle had found.
So I think, though, that the guy that becomes this warlord in the apocalyptic state has more to do with leadership abilities than his arsenal. That, I mean, really, more than one gun is almost wasted on you. So
basically, like, whoever hoards it becomes like
the
lackey. Yeah, the lackey for the person who...
I don't think a guy with 97 guns is more deadly than a charismatic guy with one.
I disagree with that very strongly. I think you just look at some places like Somalia and you see that I don't expect one man to carry 97 guns like one of those Indian goddesses or something with all the arms. I expect him to have 97 soldiers. I expect him to have 97 guys who are with him. And a lot of these guys I'm talking about already have the infrastructure in place for that, whether it's militia ties or whether it's large companies their own that deal with firearm manufacturing and within those safe spaces of conservatism, they're all very like-minded already. Like the guys that I'm talking about, it's like, all right, boys, head up the mountain, and they're ready to go.
They probably have various wives and kids that'll work for them.
But what happens if Kyle supplies 97 soldiers? Apologize, and then I say, you know what though, I've got the gun now, and I kind of feel like I should follow Steve.
Well, we'll kill you.
Oh, so. If I was the only one, but I think that it takes somebody with leadership to keep everyone in line.
First of all, thank you so much, Woody, and I really appreciate your vouching for my leadership skills. But I'll just have to convince Kyle's buddies to follow me. You know, Kyle's friends, the people who would like me, probably.
Yes.
I've never understood friends, the ones who like Jewish comedians who are on the left. I think that's really.
We all loved Seinfeld. All right, he swung so many of us to your side. Seinfeld was big for the Jewish people.
He was our sleeper agent.
He's the modern day Moses. Bridges. All right, that man has done more for the Jewish person in America than anybody. Forget Oscar Schindler. All right. What do you say? 100, 200? Yeah. Seinfeld has saved so many of you from hate crimes. I grew up in a place where there were no Jewish people at all. So I had no.
The South.
Yeah. And so I had no.
I just meant the entire South.
Plenty of Jewish people in Atlanta, but certainly where I'm from, not very many at all. None, zero. And so the only impression that I had of Jewish people came from A, Seinfeld, and B, that sticker on that magnet on my grandmother's refrigerator that said, "My God is a Jewish carpenter," and I was like, okay, all right, they seem like good people.
What skills do you have that would? Like I was talking, so my buddy Chris Bowers, who's one of the co-hosts of the live stream, he has like a fuck ton of friends in Indiana, and like one of them has a big old house, and they've all joked around for years, like, oh, if the apocalypse comes, we're going to Indiana and we're gonna live out of there. And I was like, hey, bring me. And he was like, well, what can you do? And I was like, I could build shit. Like I think that's the one skill I have.
Wait, are you literally a Jewish carpenter?
I am literally a Jewish carpenter.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not pro style, but like, like the wall behind me, I made like that. I can make stuff like that. The desk I'm sitting at, things like that.
That's one big piece, isn't it? You're talking about screwing those signs up.
You bought that from Home Depot and just tipped it up against an existing wall, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I don't mean I made the sign, and that's the thing that YouTube gave me back there. I mean the freaking the wood.
We're saying that's all one piece. That's a big. That's land.
Oh yeah. It was one piece. But what I'm saying is that I did hire a guy from Home Depot to bring it, and that is a valuable skill.
Way.
It's wood textured wallpaper, but
So what are you asking? Like what skills that we have?
What skill? Valuable? Like I think that's the only one I have. Like what skill do you have? I mean, you know artillery. Like that is an important skill.
I grew up operating a lot of different kinds of heavy machinery. And my dad is kind of my dad doesn't like to pay people to do things. And I would say that I am an expert of nothing, but I am
so jack of all trades, master of none?
Yes, absolutely. So like I can do basic electrical work and basic carpentry and plumbing, and I've done additions onto homes and a little bit of everything. There's just lots of stuff like that. If there was anything to be done that didn't require didn't really require a serviceman to come out, then we did it ourselves all the time. So I don't know. I've chopped trees down and split wood, and lots of tractor operation and small engine repair and large engine repair. If it's internal combustion or they're all internal combustion. If it's carbureted and not fuel injected, there's no computer in that vehicle, then I'm pretty confident there.
There will be a space for you in Indiana, Kyle. You'll be welcome into our compound.
I am. I know
you are his fifth choice.
And I think the thing that would make me most valuable is I know where the stuff is. I know where the cool stuff is and where the people are who have it, and they know me, and they won't shoot me on sight, hopefully. But I just know a lot of people in Georgia and in a lot of states, though I don't know if travel would be a good idea during an actual post-apocalyptic scenario that we're describing here. But I know a lot of people that have a lot of scary stuff and are like actually prepared for this sort of thing. Like I've got my cupboard full. I got lots of beans and rice. We're killing my cow, by the way. She's getting turned into steaks.
That's happening. It's time.
It's we're
like right now.
Yeah, she's drip drying in the other room. No, she's getting slaughtered soon. That like this week, next week, soon. We did.
Well, I had no idea. I'd gotten you something.
Yeah, Dad and I were discussing it, and I was like, I've only got like 8-9 pounds of meat here, like frozen. Maybe we should slaughter that cow. And let's get a bunch of steaks and hamburger. And he sent me a link from some website called the Beef Boys, and I was like, "Oh no, Dad, what have you sent me?" But it was actually some meat. It was, or maybe it was like Meaty Man or something. It was something like that. That could be like a double meaning. But it was some guys who were like showing the breakdown of a steer and how many steaks, how many pounds of hamburger, how much this, that, and the other that you get from one. And I was like, "Oh yeah, like tell you what, Dad, you kill the cow and slaughter it." And let's just split it. Let's just split this thing. I don't need all of that. And I'll go to Home Depot, get a deep freeze, fill that bitch up with hamburger meat. Did you see Ronda Rousey's video where she was showing how prepared she was?
No.
I'll pull it up. It's worth a watch. It's like a minute and 30 seconds. She's getting flamed for it.
What are your skills?
Mine, comparable to Kyle's. I can do small and large engine repair. I've done some woodworking. I don't know if I could build an addition by myself, but I volunteered to Habitat for Humanity a bunch of times to learn those skills, so I've got some.
Yeah.
I also can operate machinery and tractors and forklifts and skid steers and shit like that. If that was,
and you can literally fly.
Yeah, I think that
that's.
I mean, if you have a transportation problem solved by going 25 miles an hour on clear days, then I'm your guy.
Ho there!
Yeah.
Who leads this province? The Nightwing. And they just point up in the air and
yes. Noisy, easy shot.
I am the Nightwing now. Shit, we never thought about shooting him.
Get me with a slingshot and break the prop. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Let me like get it so that it's like comfortable on my screen.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I don't think he can. Instagram needs a forward, backwards, pause. Anyway, ready, set, play.
So everybody's doing a bunch of coronavirus panic buys at the grocery store, and I was asking Trav, like, what do we need? What do we need to stock up on? And it's like, do we need meat? No. Don't think we need any meat. Do we need veggies? Oh, no. No, we don't need any veggies. About fruit. Are we good on fruit?
Bitch got an orchard.
No, I think we're good on fruit. Do we need water?
God damn.
Don't think we need any water. What about eggs? Nah. I don't think we need any eggs. Are you sure we have enough meat? Yeah.
Better have electricity.
Yeah, we got enough meat.
Oh, wait, mine's cut off. Mine cut off.
Mine ended after the meat thing.
Yeah,
I think
so the end of the thing, you want to click the arrow that goes to the right, and it goes again. It's the second part of the video. The first time I watched
more. Oh wow.
Yeah. She ain't done yet.
No, all right, let's watch it. I'm
Yeah.
Ready?
I'm
Steve, you ready?
Yeah.
Ready, set, play.
What about power? Are we going to be able to store all this meat if the power goes out? Oh.
Tesla generators?
No, we're good on power.
Solar, I guess.
All joking aside,
Yeah.
me and Trav love to preach a message of sustainability here at Browsy Acres, not just because of it being good for the environment,
that's all over
and good
prepping.
for our health, and good for our
She got
finances,
some shit
but it's also good
for
people
saying
caring.
that.
And
Of course, like
you're
whenever you
prepared,
show
there's no need
anything
to
like
panic.
that, people are like, give it all to us.
No, I don't.
Well, I don't think that's why she's getting shit for it. I think she's getting shit for it a couple reasons. A, the condescendingness of look, paupers, we're so prepared in a way that no one who doesn't have a fucking fortune could be prepared. Like the Tesla generators, fuck you. Like that kind of thing.
That's the part that's a little above most people's reach. Everything else you could do.
I really want to go.
But
When she said that it was good for her finances, I'm like, show me the spreadsheet. Show me how how you're saving money by buying your own farm and raising your own eggs. I'll tell you, the fish I've caught are the most expensive fish I've ever eaten by far. Some of them hundreds of dollars a pound. I haven't saved much money by doing the sorts of things that she does. It's a hobby.
But that's probably a non-profit ranch she's got there. They probably bring some special needs kids out a couple times a year, ride those ponies around. She's not paying taxes on any of that.
But that's my point. Like the idea that like she has a fucking orchard. She has, and look, I don't begrudge her any of this.
No.
I'm just saying that like if she says she earned it by getting hit in the face, she earned it. But like or tackled or whatever it is. But my point is that like she is presenting in a way of like everybody should do this, and that's such an out of touch thing to say when like there are people who can barely afford the fruit on one of those trees, let alone the whole fucking orchard.
Well, okay, if we're talking about the absolute paupers of the world who can't afford an orange, then fair enough. But
there's more than one orange on a tree, Kyle. Just
like I said, more than one. How much? I don't know how much an orange costs. Who eats oranges anyway? Who's like buying oranges?
It's like that Arrested Development scene where they didn't know how much a banana cost.
Yeah. I would guess 70 cents. I don't fucking
I literally don't know how much a banana costs. I don't do my own shopping.
I'm allergic to them for one thing. But you could get most of that done for what less than land in cheap areas is $3,000-$4,000 an acre.
But not
the meat is no problem at all. That's hunting. They killed that. That's deer meat. That's elk meat.
But most people can't live in a part of the country that has that much space and still work a job.
Hey,
like there's
right? We're
now that we'll teleconference, but like just the idea that like she has that stuff because she has a ton of money.
Sure.
Like not just because it's her hobby. She has the money.
She didn't have any of those things 4 years ago. And in her retirement, that became a passion of hers. That's what I'm getting from this. That she's like, you know what? I think homesteading is fun. Let's do. And this is what homesteading looks like with a nearly limitless supply of money.
Yeah, she's still making crazy money with the WWE.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think she has to work quite as hard as she did when she was a competitive athlete.
Of course not.
Yeah,
she doesn't have to work at all.
If she had put that out there and had just been like, hey, I'm a prepper. I've been prepping for years. This is what we have here. Like, I think that would have been a lot different. They'd be like, do we have enough meat, honey? I don't know.
Oh yeah,
we
it was
should
condescending.
check our meat farm.
It was condescending as fuck. But she's never been a likable person.
No,
like her thing has always been that. Like I don't even go back to her Howard Stern interview. She's always been a real cunt.
She's always been a cunt, undoubtedly. But people liked her and didn't know she was a cunt. Like all they knew was she was a winner and they liked her. And then once they found out she was a cunt, things changed. Everyone started rooting against her.
But that's fine as long as you keep winning. I mean, there are plenty of guys out there. It's like, oh yeah, Colby Covington does not want you to like him. I can't remember who it was, but there's one of these guys who plays the bad guy, in press conferences. And his opponent goes, "Nobody likes you," and he's like, "Yeah, that's the point, dumbass."
Dude, I loved when they talked about, come onto my property. I have landmines that'll blow you up. I'm like, dude, really? I'm sure the ATF would like to know about that.
Yeah, it's like, are you a retarded person? Who protects their home with landmines?
You're being kind of judgmental, Taylor.
I mean, what if a stray fox or a dog or a bird lands on a really sensitive one? Then you got a mess and a ruined lawn.
Who are you to judge? What happens if the Secret Service were to stage a raid on his?
That's true. The Secret Service would be like, mines. We'll let you keep doing what you're doing, buddy. We don't have machines for this that will trash your yard.
You know, that does tickle me about the people that like prep and they save bullets and they're like, just in case or ever, I'll be ready. I'm like, dude, they can freaking blow you up by flying a into you. They're not even going to put people in danger at that point. They'll be like, okay, press this button, boom, you're dead. So tell me how those landmines work out for you, Steve.
That's the thing. Well, you're talking about Doomsday Preppers now. Something I've found with that show is you either laugh at how unprepared they are, or you find some motherfucker who's a multimillionaire from the .com boom, and you're like, oh my God, he's genuinely going to make it. he's going to fucking make it through this, isn't he? So if you had to go on not another 60 Days In, but a different reality show, what would be your next up pick?
Naked and Afraid.
Really?
Nice.
I like that one.
No, I wouldn't pick that one either. I don't want to catch like a thorn in my nutsack.
See, the problem is I'm fat, and
not at the end of Naked and Afraid. You would be thin.
I don't think it's long enough to thin you out. I think you want Survivor for that.
21 days with no food. These people lose 30, 40 pounds sometimes.
Yeah, some of them lose some. There's one hilarious one where no, it's really not. There's this one because they're working constantly all day, and I think it's 21, 23.
They just failed to find
like
food for 3 weeks. It's like our survival trip, but 3 times longer.
There was one guy who was like big, jacked with some gut on him.
Impossible.
And he went in at like 230 pounds, and the woman he was with went in at like 130 or something for easy math. And by the end of it, they have the side-by-side photos, and she lost. And because she insisted they have a 50-50 food split.
Oh, no.
He lost 40 pounds, and she lost like 6. And so you see his before and after, and he is now the kind of shredded where it's like, dude, you need a cup of water. And she looks dehydrated. Normal. Yeah. Well, no, dehydration is a big part of the weight loss. It's not all fat.
Yeah.
He didn't lose 40 pounds of fat in 3 weeks. He lost a ton of water weight and probably 20 pounds of fat or something.
And some muscle.
And
a lot of muscle, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say what's cool about being on the show is, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, is you get people that follow you for all sorts of different reality shows. So it's almost like reality stars unite. Okay, but so I've had actually conversations, actually a lot of them. Real World, is that a Big Brother? I think Big Brother would be kind of cool, but it's all a bunch of young kids, so I think they would tick me off after.
I would want to do Survivor. Survivor still seems like the cool one.
Yeah, I've got a Survivor as well that follows me. I think that would be semi-cool, but it could suck at the same time.
I used to want to do, what was the Joe Rogan one with the bravery?
Fear Factor.
Fear Factor is the one I wanted to do.
I don't want to eat roaches. Nah.
Yeah, I
or drink cum.
Those would be the hardest ones for me.
They crawl all over you and up your nose.
I thought I'd be fine tolerating insects crawling on me. A lot of them were like climbing based or water based, and I thought I'd do really well on that. It's if I could just make it through the eating challenges, I thought I'd do well on that show.
I know I would gag. I would just vomit. Like even if I could force myself to put like those camel spiders in my mouth, I know I'd just throw them up.
You got to do what Homer Simpson did for that spicy chili challenge. Is you drink a bunch of wax, coats the liquid wax, coats the inside of your mouth, and then you can eat any amount of spicy chili. It worked for Homer Simpson about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, no. The more I'm thinking about that episode, is it actually didn't work. So
that's right. He had that psychedelic trip right after, and it goes on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, where he sees the fox on the fucking Arizona plain or whatever.
He takes a step forward, and the moon and the sun comes up. A step back, and it goes down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then it like cracks on the horizon and breaks. And he's like, oh no!
Dude, old Simpsons is so good.
Have you guys heard about that big iceberg that's supposedly about to drop and melt or something?
No,
I do not know.
Is it one of those deals where like it's a chunk that's just like the size of Rhode Island or something?
Dude, it's supposed to be catastrophic.
Awesome. I've been waiting for this shit since I was 5. I remember kids.
Yeah.
All right. I was born in 1986. So in 1991, I remember they showed us a video about global warming and they used pennies as some sort of a metaphor to explain it. And like, I don't remember how it worked because I was 5, but there were stacks of pennies and the water kept getting higher and then the kids drowned at the end of the video.
The only way to stop it is for you to give all of us your pennies.
They might have wanted our fucking pennies. I was busy stealing that weird kid's hearing aid though. I was a dangerous child.
You're stealing a hearing aid?
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah.
What's the street value of a hearing aid?
I don't know.
It went for more than the prosthetic limbs he took.
Did you take it because you thought it would give you like super hearing?
I didn't know what it was. I just thought it looked cool because it was like this is a 1991 hearing aid, so it was big and electronic.
Yeah.
It looked like you would like plug it into my Game Boy and it was gonna like give me super.
It was like your Game Shark. Yeah.
Because like back in those shitty movies in the 80s, they would like take like 2 pieces of common technology and just jam them together and they would work. Like the Ghostbusters 2 when they just take a Nintendo joystick and power the Statue of Liberty, right? So as a kid, I'm like, this will plug into something at home, and I was using it as a ray gun at lunch. I was like pointing it and going pew pew pew. I'm 5, and I got
some poor deaf kid. He can't even hear you pewing.
Yeah.
That's probably really expensive for his parents too.
They got it back
eventually.
I mean, they caught me
after he got smacked at home for not listening.
And the poor kid never did learn long division.
Class.
Woody, what was going on with the big iceberg?
So it's been on the news all over the place. They say the fuse has been blown and the Doomsday Glacier's coming for us all. This is Rolling Stone's headline. New data suggests a massive collapse of the ice shelf in as little as 5 years. We're dealing with an event that no human has ever witnessed. We have no analog for this. Apparently, a giant ice shelf, which I guess is bigger than a glacier, I don't know, is going to raise sea levels by 10 feet in the next 5 years.
Let's go.
Dude, that is...
We'll see.
Dude, it's so ginormous and earth-changing, I dismiss it. If they said it was going up by 6 inches, I'd be like, actually, that's a bigger deal than people think. By 10 feet, I'm like, that's probably just not true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you got to do? Like, realistically, like, let's say it fits true. What do you do? Like, you just build a 11-foot wall? Like, what happens?
What you do is you see if wealthy people you see if billionaires, politicians continue to keep vacation homes in places like Martha's Vineyard and right there on the water. When they start selling all those, you know it's about to get real.
Where does Bernie Sanders or like where does he have? He has to have like some kind of. He has a lake home, right? Not an ocean home.
I don't know. He's up there in Vermont. I think he's safe from Vermont.
So
I mean, they got ocean over there too.
I picture him living high up in the woods, but that's probably not true, is it? There's no way that old man lives in the fucking woods.
Altitude.
So I guess what it is if the ice shelf collapses, then the rest of the West Antarctic ice sheet slides into the sea.
Cool.
And that's the event.
I hope we get video.
I hope there's a movie around it.
We need I need a time lapse. I bet it's boring.
Yeah. I hope it happens. I want to see something happen. Al Gore lied to me. That video from kindergarten lied to me. The Day After Tomorrow lied to me. Who next?
The Rolling Stone?
2012 was a big disappointment.
The Rolling Stone, they're like, this is serious. So we titled it Epic Disaster of Preposterous Proportions Coming Your Way. New Marvel movie. Like write it more serious.
Dude, one of the most underrated movies ever, Waterworld. Let's go. Like that was fucking cool, right? Remember Kevin Costner's fucking
at what age did you watch it?
It was
it's fucking bad. I watched it last week.
Dude, there's a line in that movie that I quote and nobody gets. He has this woman and her child on the boat, and I forget why she's angry, but she decides to kill Kevin Costner, Kevin, his character. And she gives it a go. It's futile. She's worthless. And he's like, killing ain't easy. And I ain't no place to start. And I was just like, oh, you're so fucking badass. So I have it 80% right.
No, that was probably like around the time he sold the child for pedophilia for paper. I think it was around that time. I think she was bummed about that.
Yeah.
That
When
yeah,
that
that's
dude,
right.
that-
She
that
might have
was-
been trying to save the kid's life or
Or
future.
asshole.
Yeah.
I remember watching that movie when I was a kid, and I remember seeing like a bunch of really bad reviews about that movie, and I didn't understand why people thought it was a bad movie at all. Like I was like,
remember
this
it
thing
differently.
is awesome.
I remember that it wasn't that they said the movie was bad in my exposure. It was that they said the movie was wildly over budget, that it was delayed. Apparently, filming on the water is super hard to do.
No shit.
Right? So, and it's all union based. And if they don't
yeah.
have lunch on time, then it costs a gazillion dollars.
So-
if they have to work overtime, Kyle.
So if you've seen the movie, there's this atoll that sort of the opening scene takes place in, or opening 20 minutes or so. It's where like the people are living. They built that in the ocean. There was nowhere to piss or shit. So every time you had to take a bathroom break, they had to drive you back to the fucking mainland. Now, of course, we're hoping that people are just pissing and shitting off the side.
I'm from the ocean. There is everywhere to piss and shit.
I don't, yeah, but I feel like there's probably like some sort of like environmental guy there, like making sure Kevin Costner doesn't shit over the side of the boat or anything.
Yeah.
In any case, like it kept falling apart. It was the movie ended up being profitable, but at the time, I want to say it was the most expensive movie ever made, at like 150 million or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a fun little action flick, and it's worth watching. Dennis Hopper does a great job. He the line my dad always quotes is somebody's complaining to Dennis Hopper, even though Dennis Hopper just got one of his eyes fucking blown out of his head, and he goes, "A single tear rolls down my cheek." Don't fucking complain to me, asshole. Look at this.
There's a yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can go. Why don't you go?
Oh, so there's a really interesting sort of documentary. I think it might be on YouTube about how horrible the production of that movie was, like how everybody basically hated their lives. Like that atoll that they had everybody at, there was a storm that rolled in and basically broke everything, so they had to rebuild it from scratch, and it put things back like weeks or months or some kind of ridiculous time frame. People were being, it was a really, really hard production, and they were surprised that it even made it. So they didn't really care what happened afterwards. They were like, okay, the movie's made. I don't care what reviews it gets.
Is that another one of those that Kevin Costner directed? Because I think he directed The Postman. Have you ever seen The Postman?
I've heard about it, but I haven't heard it.
Another movie that I feel is underappreciated.
It's underappreciated as well. It's slow though. It's a lot slower than than Waterworld, which is more actiony. The Postman is post-apocalyptic. Who knows what happened? But the United States has fallen in these sort of like split up little communities. A little bit of electricity, but that's if you live next to a hydroelectric dam and you've rigged up a way or something like that. But we've been set back. And Kevin Costner is like this roaming guy who like stumbles upon an old postal truck. He takes the postman's uniform because it's good clothes, even though it's on like a skeleton. And he grabs the mail sack and he walks into town and he comes up with this scam. He says, the United States has been reformed. There's a new president. His name is, it gives some ridiculous name. It's like Benji Gooberson or something. I can't remember. The President Gooberson has sent me firsthand. And he's running this scam. So basically they're giving him a place to stay, they're feeding him, and they're giving him mail to send on to the next town. So he's like, fuck yeah, give it to me. I'll carry it. And everybody, bitches are trying to fuck him. Like, it's great. He's loving this. But people start kind of buying into the whole idea that the United States is back, and there's a local warlord who doesn't care for that sort of thing. And it's a little bit like Fallout, right? Like he's got a whole goddamn army, and they're kind of opposed against one another. And Kevin Costner's made up scam of a new United States gets a following behind it and actually starts snowballing.
And he gets a sense of responsibility. I'm looking for a better word, morality, perhaps, where, he is the good guy and he is the government and he would like this world to be better, if I recall.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. But like you said, it's slow. I do remember SNL did a skit on it. I think it might have been Kevin Costner on it. The SNL actor is like, oh my God, just tell it quicker. This feels like the Postman.
It's real fucking slow. But there's a few good actors in it that I always recognize, and I kind of like. I don't know, it has a good ending. I like Kevin Costner though, and not everybody does. Dances with Wolves is another one of my favorites. I grew up watching him. I think my grandma had a crush on Kevin Costner because we watched a lot of his movies.
But I can always tell when I need new stuff when I'm driving at night. And do you guys get the halo effect around lights?
If I do, it's legit though. It's like because the wet windshield or something.
I get the halo effect bad. Like if I took my contacts out and I look at a light, like first of all, if I was looking at this screen without my contacts in, it would just be a blur. It would just be an area where light was. I would be able to tell that there was movement when you guys were moving, but I wouldn't be able to recognize who you were.
You're so blind. It's easy to forget.
I would only know who you were because I could probably discern Woody's background palette. And
let me ask you this:
Kyle would be harder.
So you're big and you're strong, but you're blind.
Mhm.
Would a much weaker opponent be able to best you in a spear fight? Do you think?
I love this topic.
If I don't have my contacts?
Yeah. We're all natural, okay? Like we're
This is
cavemen
Rust.
people now. Yeah,
For,
this is
like the way it would be for me is
How
like
big is
so
Taylor's dick in this Rust scenario?
this Rust scenario. It's like a nerd rope. We've established it. Yeah. Like it, the way it would be like if Kyle, let's say you're shirtless with your spear, we're both ready to fight. Like I could discern your body shape and where you were. So I would be able to still stab you. But the difference is like if I were to see your arm, like the way you see my arm end right here, I wouldn't see that. I would see there would be a couple inches of fuzziness on the outside where I wouldn't be able to exactly tell where your body ended.
So I'd be strafing a lot and poking and jabbing. Would you be able to defend against any of that, you think?
It depends how close you got, because I'm nearsighted. So
about spear length.
if you were within 6 feet,
exactly 8 feet, because that's all I got here.
Yeah, I wouldn't do well in that fight.
Yeah.
Like it would be, first of all, really scary because it wouldn't just be you I was trying to see. Like I wouldn't be able to tell if there were stools or things like low things that I could trip on. Like that would easily blend in for me.
Perhaps a jungle cat coming to third party us.
A jungle cat coming to third, that thing would fuck me up. So yeah, I don't think I would do that well. That's the most disheartening part of me thinking about survival or prepping things. Like I'm never going to get into that, but it's still interesting to look into. Just being like, yeah, wait, if you stocked 20 years of food, water, defense, shelter, you're still only good until your last pair of contacts or your glasses break.
You'd better learn optometry, and with some of that time you've got.
That's the ultimate prepper thing for someone with eyes as shitty as mine is stockpiling glasses. Like
Shit,
I would
if
need
you
like
do
12 pairs of
optometry,
glasses.
you might be a valuable community resource too.
Oh, for sure. I never even thought about that one as one of the
just
valuable
kill the blind
resources.
people.
But that's true.
You'd use them to like push one of those like wheels that grinds flour. Just all day. You're just
that would be my whole job.
You'd be good at it, Taylor. You're built for pushing shit. Look at you. You'd be the best damn flour pusher maker thing around.
That's one of the best parts.
It used to be useful as a fighter. Then those last pair of contacts dried out, crisped up, and now it just makes all the bread.
My vision is bad in that, like, if it's an older coin, I have a hard time reading the date on it. If I were to flip over a plastic toy where it says made in like China or Hong Kong, I can't read that very well. Like that's where my vision is.
People will like when I take my contacts out and I still have to like change an alarm or something on my phone. Like I have to go like this, like this level of distance between me and my phone for me to read stuff.
Oh, I've gone the other way. Like sometimes my vision's better than other times, and I'll be like, you know what? A little longer one eye seems to do the trick right now.
I've had the doctor warn me about that. He's like, and do you often find yourself closing an eye to get a better sight? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've done that since I was a kid. My left eye is the shittier one, so I'll go like that and see a little clearer. And he's like, yeah, you know, usually you don't want to start doing that until you're much older. Even older than what you are. Like, but yeah, you guys are fucking lucky. I was always jealous as shit of people with good eyesight. Like it's never even been something I've experienced. So I don't even know.
Yeah, it's real nice.
Like
yeah,
I couldn't read the board when I was 6